5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Meanwhile, the Browns quarterback competition has not even played out yet. We're already talking about Arch Manning coming to save the franchise. That's when you know you can't pick a quarterback worth a dang because everyone's always looking for the next guy for you. Hey,
that's the amazing thing about all the drama when they drafted Dylan Gabriel, the Browns, in the 3rd round, and Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round, and traded from 2 to 5 to get a pick next year from the Jags. They're all in on next year's quarterback class, and yet we're paying this much attention to their rookie quarterback class. Make it make sense, Maggie.
Well, I can't, except for the fact that, it looks a little like star hunting, if you will, because, I like this idea that, for the Browns, that Shedeur Sanders just fell into their lap. Now, they made a calculated decision once it did get to day 3 that they were going to trade up and they were going to actually go and get him. I know it wasn't trading up like the Giants did to get back into the 1st round for Jackson Dart, but they did eventually set their sights on him and made that trade with Seattle, late picks, 166 to 144, whatever it was, to go up and get Shedeur. So there was it's not like they were on the clock and Shedeur was there.
It wasn't an arbitrary, hey, he's here, let's just take him.
Yeah, let's not pretend they were throwing darts at the dartboard. So, that's kind of insulting to them. So I think it's because they're taking the flyer on Shedeur. By the way, Dylan Gabriel, pretty famous in his own right, played in some huge college games, has played college forever. So we're familiar with him. And now Arch Manning, this would just be so Browns, because they can't really get quarterbacks to come there unless either they pay them so exorbitantly, like Deshaun Watson got $230 million while he was being, investigated for all those improprieties with all those massage therapists, or they get the number 1 pick.
Well, yeah, but it's funny, actually, if you think about it, they had, Baker was the number 1 pick, but generally they had this weird habit of taking this quarterbacks at 21. Did they have that run of 21s? They had Brandon Weeden, Johnny Manziel, and Brady Quinn. They all took in the 20s. So they tried to be fair to the franchise, they tried to get him in the second half of the 1st round, and that didn't work either.
Okay, so they've failed in every single possible way you can try to get a quarterback on your roster. And so, of course, people would say, well, if anyone's going to save the Browns, it's going to now have to be Arch Manning because it definitely wasn't Deshaun Watson. So anyway, here's what we're talking about. Jimmy Haslam is the owner of the Browns. Not a great owner because the team's not very good. So you're going to be judged by that. And he has a connection, though, to the Mannings because of a University of Tennessee connection. So he's got a thought on Arch.
Arch Manning.
Well, Tony, you're in the business and you get paid by how many hits you get, okay? And I think if you know the Manning family, I would bet that, and I don't know Arch at all, okay? I bet he stays in college 2 years, so I don't even think that's worth discussing.
Pearl, this is something you've been consistent about.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Look at the history of the Mannings. Okay.
Well, so he's right. Peyton and Eli stayed 4 years. Peyton could have gone out, almost went. Well, was discussed about going out and came back, and he had already proven something on the field. We haven't even seen Arch play yet.
That's true. So one of those stories about Peyton Manning all those years ago and why he didn't want to come out in the draft, this is the story that I've always heard was the true story, which is that the Jets had the number 1 pick, but Bill Parcells was in the building. So this wasn't your normal Jets situation where they're just floundering. Bill Parcells was there to add some, gravitas to the situation. But Bill Parcells, from what I've understood, would not tell the Mannings for sure that he would draft Peyton number 1 overall. And they didn't like that he was playing coy about that and would not solidly, definitively say, we are drafting you number 1. I think that was Parcells being Bill Parcells. And that was part of the reason he went back to college. Could have just been because the Jets are the Jets. Can I bring something up, though, that is unique to Arch Manning that Peyton Manning wasn't dealing with or that Eli Manning wasn't dealing with? It's one thing if your brother has a career-ending injury. That is horrible. And I'm talking about Cooper Manning now, right? It's one thing if he had spinal stenosis, which is a narrowing of the spine that in the worst possible cases can cause paralysis. It can end your athletic career, obviously. It's one thing if your brother is going through that and you feel like, you watched him lose, his football career, but obviously Cooper's rebounded to be successful in so many other ways. It's different when it's your dad. And Arch Manning had some comments about this at the SEC Media Days about how watching his father have that career-ending injury and then see his uncles go on to be these massive stars and winning 4 Super Bowls between them and all the MVPs has taught him, you've got to take every opportunity. You can't take anything for granted, and you have to really be grateful for everything you have in the moment that you have it, because he watched how his dad, well, he didn't watch, but he understands that his dad's career ended. If Arch Manning can be the number 1 pick after this year, you can't leave that on the table. And I think the family psychology and history, like, not to be armchair on them, but because of his father's career-ending injury, nothing is promised. And I think that would be a motivator to me to get to the NFL, especially if you're going to be the number 1 pick.
So why wasn't he in a rush to get on the field in college then?
Well, how could he? I mean, he had Quinn Ewers in front of him. I don't know if
He could have left.
Yeah,
Like everybody else. So, right, like he seemed like in no rush in college.
Well, maybe he felt like he still wanted to develop. There's another thing about Arch.
Well, which could be, by the way, still be true after this season.
It could be, but you know what? To be the number 1 overall pick, whether it's the Browns or anywhere else, I think that's going to be too tempting to turn down.
Yeah.
Whether it's, and it could be a couple situations. It could be the Browns as the number 1 pick. We've talked a lot about the Rams and Sean McVay. Is there something that could be appealing about sitting behind Matthew Stafford, if they could pull something like that off to learn from him while Stafford is still active? I don't know, but that Cooper Manning injury always lingered in the back of my mind. How does that impact your son? It's one thing if it's your brother, it's another if it's your dad.
Well, one thing, he wasn't around for that.
No, but to know his career kind of, disintegrated over something was not his fault.
It's a different calculus for Arch than anyone we've ever seen before. He is richer than any the draft prospect in the history of the game. I mean, obviously, because nobody got paid until 2 years ago.
Sure.
And he's getting paid more than anyone. Reportedly $6.5 million, and I'd probably be more by the time he gets to the draft. So he's already got millions in the bank. And if you're sitting there and you're Arch Manning, that's a really good point about the psychology and all, but you have a chance to go back to Texas. Let's assume he doesn't win a title this year. Safe assumption, right? You pick the field over Texas.
Of course.
Would you rather, you already have millions and millions, you're already financially set for life. Would you rather go back to Texas with a coach you love and a team you love and try to win a national title, or go to Cleveland or New Orleans?
Listen, I get it. I understand, but there is an appeal to the pros, and there is an appeal to maybe not the Browns so much.
What?
But New Orleans, you understand the appeal. And I get the cupboard's bare right now, and it's not awesome, but it is his hometown.
I don't know if he would go there, honestly. Kobe didn't want to go to Philadelphia, Kobe Bryant. So I don't know. I just think that the logic behind him staying, also, there's so many people around him who keep saying he wants to do 2 years. Like, that can't be. It feels like the Manning family is putting out the messaging pretty consistently. Hey, we want him here for 2 years. I mean, they could be wrong. I thought Cooper Flagg was going back because there were rumors that Cooper Flagg was signing this massive NIL deal to stay at Duke. Didn't happen. But yeah,
you were the only person who thought Cooper Flagg was coming back. By the way,
there was a lot going on with Cooper Flagg.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's in Dallas now, so he landed.
I'll show you the reports on Cooper Flagg going back. Like, there was a big rumor that Cooper Flagg was going to go back to Duke and sign a $20 million deal with all these people. But anyway, I mean, you might be right. But I think that'd be crazy for him at this young. Because he's also young. He's, 21 now? He just turned 21. So he's going to be 22. And there's no guarantee. I would not go to Cleveland, New Orleans if he really just hang out at college. That's like his dad did. Like, Eli could have come out as a junior, too. There's no reason to unless he feels it's the perfect situation.
So I think you're right to look at the history and all of that. And we're kind of predicting because Jimmy Haslam said yesterday, the owner of the Browns, that he thinks that Arch Manning is going to stay for 2 years because of the Manning family. But this is a different calculus. I think when your dad had a career-ending injury and his football career was cut short, and you're growing up with that. Again, it's very different than, when it was Peyton and Eli watching their brother go through that. I think it is different when it's your father. And the thing about the money, I think you have to be playing for something more than money. Like, I don't think that Arch would have even gotten to the point he is now at Texas playing high-level FBS football if he's only playing for the love of money, right? You have to love the game. And this is why the great players, I don't know if Arch is going to be great, but the motivation has to come from somewhere else besides the money. And I think it does for him. I think he wants to be and follow in the footsteps of all these great, of his family. But here's the other thing about Arch. You're saying you shouldn't go to Cleveland, you shouldn't go to New Orleans. He also doesn't have to go to one of those places, right? He can be the number one pick like Eli Manning was, and Eli didn't go to San Diego.
Right, but he went within the top 4.
Okay, fine, but we don't know who's going to land in the top 4. Let's figure this out.
We have an idea.
Okay.
Same teams are usually up there every year.
You know the projections, but sometimes you even talked about, is Carolina a good spot for him? There could be a spot that's like more of a blank slate. I didn't agree with you at the time about the Carolina thing, but we don't know what they're looking for. But it doesn't necessarily have to be the number 1 pick and he just goes there. The Mannings could play hardball and get him from anywhere from whoever's picking 6th overall to 1, I believe.
Right, but you're going to have, the odds are, if you look at the odds, you know who the 6 teams are going to be, right? Nobody was massively surprised by anybody in the top 5 this year. We knew probably Cleveland without Deshaun was going to be in there.
I'm just saying not all teams picking in the top 6 are necessarily dire situations. Cleveland is not a good situation. I wouldn't allow my kid to play there. New Orleans looks really bad right now, but there is the personal connection. So maybe he's, the thing the catalyst that turns this around. Not all teams picking at the top are necessarily terrible and going to be terrible forever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just like the Colts with Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning went there.
That was a horrible situation before
look at what he did.
Yeah, I know, but good point. But still, look at the teams at the bottom of the odds. The Saints are a mess. The Browns are a disaster. The Jets are the most futile team in pro sports. The Giants are right behind them. The Titans have a quarterback. Then you got the Colts, Raiders. The Raiders haven't won a single thing in 20 years. They're not going to be ideal situations. That's the way the draft works.
But that's never going to be ideal, right?
Look at Caleb Williams. Like we said, oh, man, he's going to be stuck with the Bears who can't develop a quarterback. And guess what's happening? They're having a massive problem developing Caleb Williams.
You know what, though? That's going to happen whether it's this year or whether it's next year, right? If he comes out, if Arch Manning decides to leave college after this upcoming season and knows he's the number 1 pick, or if it's 2 years from now, it's still going to be a bad team. It's still going to be a slew of bad teams at the top of the draft. That's what you hope, that a quarterback changes your fortunes, turns you around, finally gets you on the right track.
Arch is coming out.
What's that? Oh, is that
Arch is coming out. Arch is coming out.
I saw pictures of him at the SEC Media Day.
Yeah.
He looks like a 19-year-old kid rushing a fraternity.
They all look like that.
Not
it's
like
the
Arch.
way they all wear their hair these days. It's like a mop of hair on their head. Everyone's wearing their hair long.
Actually, it's funny. Drew Aller does look like that too. But no, Arch looks like a baby. The way his outfit, like a blue blazer and a tie that someone helped him tie. He looks like a little kid. So I don't know that he's in any rush. Besides, the other thing too is we haven't seen him play at all, so who knows? He might not be. Yeah, I don't feel like this is. I kind of agree with Haslam. This is not an obvious tank year. Next year, the year after that, I would definitely tank. This year, I would be very careful about tanking because there are some good projections, but I keep hearing Arch in this incredible quarterback class. That's a big unknown to just lose 16 games for, isn't it? Trevor Lawrence, everyone knew he was coming out, so that was easy. And I think Andrew Luck was a senior. So what if you tank and there's no one there?
Listen, I don't know if the Browns are going to need to tank. I don't think might not have to be a conscious thing. Kenny Pickett's already dealing with a hamstring injury. Flacco's 40 in year 17. Their schedule is absolutely brutal. The Saints are just a mess. So I don't know if you need to necessarily be trying to lose. You might just lose a lot of games.
But if you assume Joe Flacco stayed healthy and you played him all season, that's not a strong tank move.
That could be a 4-win team.
Yeah, 4-win. Will that get you number 1?
It's going to get you close enough. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. And then, if you've won 2 or 3 games and all of a sudden it's late December, okay, well, now you start really sitting guys. You very aggressively sit guys. And you make that decision at the end. But to me, I would not rule out that Arch would come to the NFL draft after this year. And furthermore, if he is projected to be the number 1 overall pick, you got to do it. You got to come out.
If you're Arch. Why?
If you're Arch. Again, because you didn't watch, but you understand what happened to your dad. And I think that's going to play a big part of this. And, you're going to manipulate the draft only as much as you can manipulate it, whether it's 2026 draft or 2027 when you're the Mannings.
Yeah, but also, too, what about winning in college? It seems like a big deal to him.
Peyton and Eli didn't win in college.
Yeah, they wanted to. Peyton, Peyton, that
they all
Tennessee
want
team,
to.
God, Peyton was all so upset that he couldn't win with that team. Now, Eli never even came close. He chose Ole Miss. But, I think Arch, just the fact that he stayed 2 years at Texas, why? Why just say, unless they do it this year. If he wins the title, all bets are off. But I just, none of the things you said are consistent with him just quietly sitting behind Quinn Ewers and not leaving. He could have gone anywhere. Could have gone to Alabama.
I thought he should have gone to USC. Go with the quarterback kingmaker, Lincoln Riley. The problem is you might get killed, and you also are probably not going to be playing for anything.
I think Austin's really fun, too, and I think he's having a great time. And, I think he's a little kid. To go, I personally, you couldn't pry me out of University of Texas to go to the Browns or the Saints next year.
888-710-4ISN. You can let us know what you think about Arch Manning. We also have Jimmy Haslam talking about Shedeur Sanders. That guy, also with a famous father and a famous family. What did he say about his role in selecting Shedeur in the 5th round, and who's going to wear it for the Browns if this quarterback situation just gets worse and worse and worse? We've got that for you today. So much to do. It's Maggie Perloff Show.
He's going to break down that touchdown. I can't hear. Never mind.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. Maggie, you know I love a mock draft. I love to look ahead. But even I will admit the Arch Manning number 1 overall is a little bit funny considering we've seen him play, what was it, Mississippi State that he went to town on, who was basically a JV squad last year.
Yeah, they won 2 games.
So he's never really played a full game against a really, really good team. We've seen moments of him. And will Texas be number 1 or 2 when the first AP poll comes out? So we do have a little thing called the college football season ahead. And now we're trying to put him on the Browns. I would love to take the field if we could do a bet who's the number 1 pick next year, because I do think like it doesn't feel like Trevor Lawrence. That was the one where everyone knew. There's very few years where you tank. So why would you tank if you don't know if Arch is coming out? And B, if you don't know how good he is yet. So it's a little bit weird. The year after that, if Arch goes back to college and Lenore Sellers go back to college, then you'll have Dylan Raiola, Arch Manning, Lenore Sellers, DJ Lagway. Then you're a full-on tank. But this year doesn't feel like a tank year to me, Maggie.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that if Arch is going to be the number 1 overall pick and the Mannings know that, I think you got to come out. Like, you got to go to the draft. And the thing is, with the Mannings, it's unique, is that you don't actually have to go to the team that's picking number 1. Because Eli didn't, and I don't know why Arch would have to. So if you're around 1, if you're top 5, top 6, I think the Mannings have a lot of leverage. Let's go to Jamie, who's in Dallas, Texas. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning. Hey, Perloff, I'm rarely in full agreement with you, but this morning I don't think you couldn't be any more dialed in. We don't know what this kid is. What we do know is about the 2023 group of 5-star quarterbacks, the top 6. He's the only one that's still at his first school. A couple of them are at their third school. One of them's at Sacramento State. But on a bigger scheme, bigger picture here as it relates to Arch and Texas, I think what we're looking at is the second coming of Major Applewhite and Chris Sims. Chris Sims was thought to be this legacy generational talent. He was lucky to get a little bit more than a cup of coffee in the NFL. I personally think that everybody gets a little bit out over their skis on Arch Manning. He's Cooper's son. He's not Eli or Peyton's son. We really don't know. You look at this. Thank you, sir. You look at this group of kids that came out. They were obviously all overrated in a major way. Texas, this is my biggest concern as it relates to Texas. They have both tackles and 2 interior offensive linemen are replacing. So they're replacing 4 starters on that offensive line.
Yeah.
They've lost 4 NFL running backs in the last 2 years. All the receivers are new. That he's not coming into. I understand they spend a bunch of money in NIL and all these other things. He's not walking into a ready-made, ready for success situation that people are making this out to be. They're just so in love with his name. They're so in love with everything else that they're not looking at this through any realistic way. Now, that's the way Texas football operates, so that's only going to get more intense and worse on him. And I just I think that this is going to be a massive disappointment. I don't see him as a runner that people think he is just because he had one run against Mississippi State, and I don't see that great of instincts as a passer. Now,
he's not even the starter, though. How do you know that? Do we have a big enough sample size for that? He started 2 games, right? I mean, Jamie, I get it. You want to fade Arch Manning in Texas? Totally understand. Has the hype gotten way too much? Absolutely, but it's not like the cupboard's totally bare. He still has Sark. It's going to be creative. It's going to look a certain way. And, here's the thing about Arch that maybe no one wants to talk about. There may be an NFL team that will take him number 1 or close to it, even if he doesn't have this wildly successful college career. Because look at Eli. It's not like Eli was, a Heisman front runner or anything like that, and he still went number 1 overall, and they had to manipulate the draft there. So,
hey, Jamie,
I think the last name's going to take him pretty far. I'm dying to know who are the other quarterbacks in that class. I assume that's probably Malachi Nelson, who's at Sacramento State.
You got Malachi Nelson, who's wherever he's. I think that's a kid at Sacramento State. You got Jaden Rashida, who's went from Arizona State to Georgia, wherever he's at now. You got Jackson Arnold, who's went from Oklahoma to Auburn as a massive disappointment. You got I think Aiden Childs is the only one. He may still be. No. Dante Moore has left UCLA. He's at Oregon now. Yeah. So to what you're saying.
But Jamie, let me ask you got a first-hand view of Quinn Ewers, who was coming out of high school, a surefire number 1 overall pick. He went in the 7th round. So I'm on Team Jamie here. There's a TBD about.
Okay, but Arch. Quinn Ewers also went to was also playing in multiple college football playoffs and getting to the Final Four.
Right, and he went in the 7th round of the draft.
Well, I'm just saying that was also because of injury, I would think.
No, it wasn't because of injury. It was because that kid was made out to be something way more than he was as a junior in high school, and then he was an early winner in the NIL deal. He skips his senior year, and he peaked very early. I went to the Arkansas-Texas game. I watched Quinn Ewers live last year. That is not a live arm. That is not an NFL arm. That's a college quarterback at best, and that goes to the fact that Arch Manning couldn't stand out and literally jump that guy on the depth chart, regardless of your feelings, regardless of this, regardless of that. Yeah. 2 FCS quarterbacks went in the draft higher than Quinn Ewers. He was the 14th quarterback selected by the NFL. He will get a cup of tea, and he'll be in the UFL really quickly, and that's just the facts. Just like, every single Texas quarterback turns out to be a bust. You can't name me a single Texas quarterback that's ever gotten to the NFL and turned out to be what we thought he was going to be. As soon as Chris Johnson, the wheels came off, Vince Young was, hey, this guy can't even play. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's just the way it works with all things orange. And I'm a Razorback, so of course I'm always going to feel that way.
It's either Oklahoma or Arkansas. I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Pig suey.
Wait, Jamie, last question for you. What did you just get from the drive-thru? Where are you?
No, I was dropping off a friend at the airport. Now, hey, listen,
nice
one quick thing on a different subject. I know you guys haven't touched on it, but maybe I just didn't listen to it. Maybe you did it yesterday. In regards to the Luka Doncic article in Men's Health.
Yeah, we're going to get to it.
Listen, this guy, he's of all the things they say, right, are true. He's petulant. He's a little selfish. He's this, he's that. He's wired a certain way, okay? But he's also got a little bit of that Tom Brady, like, you understand, you think I'm a white guy, you think this is a boulder that he's going to carry on his shoulder, and he is going to destroy people next year, because he looks like he did when he came into the league as a 19 to 20-year-old, and people couldn't believe what they were dealing with, and that's what you're going to see next year. Now, whether or not LeBron folds into that and his passive-aggressive nature allows him to respect, the fact that there's a changing of the guard taking place, and whether the Lakers have actually, addressed any defensive liabilities that they had major, that's the case. But I promise you, on the offensive end, It's going to be a show next year. You guys have a great day.
Jamie, okay, so a lot to unpack there. We are going to get to Luka in a moment because we're wondering, is this just a revenge bod, if you will, because of how Dallas shipped him out and basically blamed the hookah and beer and him not being committed to his body as one of the sole reasons? Is he just getting revenge on that narrative, or is this a brand new Luka that's been unlocked, like Jamie seems to think? So we're going to get to that. But as for the question about why Arch could never beat out Quinn Ewers, listen, it's fair. It's a fair question. Now, I don't know why at one point in the season they were using Arch for a lot of goal line packages and stuff like that, and then that just stopped. It was like someone turned off a faucet. So I don't know what was going on last year with Ewers and why Sark was so loyal to Ewers.
Well, I got to tell you, Jamie had the bona fides. Like, there's no doubt, because you know what was most impressive to me about that call was that he knew the correct name of the spring league. He's like, he's going to go the UFL. I had to Google it. I'm like, what kind of that is? He's on point right there to know the UFL. Yeah, I mean, we all know, everybody who follows the sport knows why Quinn Ewers was going to be number one overall. It was the mullet. I mean, you come out as a high school star with a massive dyed blonde mullet, you are guaranteed to be the number one pick. So if he had kept that hair, I think it'd be a much different narrative.
Wow. Ironically, he cut the hair because he thought it didn't make him look serious enough.
Yeah. Big mistake.
That call is why I love college football, because you can be literally driving your Uber, dropping people at the airport, and being like, Texas still sucks.
You look at this. Thank you, sir.
I don't know what the 2023 draft class had to do with it, but I like the flex of knowing all these guys transferred multiple times.
I think his point was just, hype alone, like,
but some of the guys are better, like in a better spot. Like Dante Moore's in a better spot.
Well,
now.
yeah,
not all of those things followed the right track.
But everyone he named, that class was so hyped and really bombed. Yeah. Even Dante Moore is not what people thought he was going to be.
No, but I mean, he just upgraded.
I know, but still, like, he's definitely. I would say that his trajectory is not what we expected coming out of high school as the number one guy.
Let's get to Bogusch. He's got the latest and greatest. Good morning, Bogusch.
Guys, good morning. Your headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. Adult toy. It is fair to say that we would not lead with last night's Valkyrie's Dream WNBA game under normal circumstances, but these are not normal circumstances.
Hayes gets blocked by Maya Caldwell. Something flies on the court, actually, from the crowd. The officials will say they will continue play as that goes off the fingertips of the Valkyries. But that needs to be addressed.
And when it was addressed, live toy on TV.
And no one's picked the object up yet. You guys, oh my gosh, okay. Inappropriate. Oh no. Get him out of here, whoever it is.
Oh, inappropriate's a word to
if I had
use.
A body part anyone wanted to see.
Yeah, this was a neon green adult toy.
Mm-hmm.
A replica of a certain body part that is not Maggie's feet. And it was thrown from the stands and bounced through the court and along the sideline. Was nestled under a seat when was first put on television.
Ooh, panics.
Yeah. There were some giggles. There was some surprise. There was a little bit of, hey, that was dangerous from the players on the court.
Dangerous?
But yeah.
Wow.
Maggie, you could have been hit by it or tripped over it or stepped on it and twisted an ankle.
Maggie should be the expert on this one, right?
Yeah, this is a Bills Mafia thing.
Yeah, I was going to say,
they used to throw these at Tom Brady all the time.
Yeah.
Feels a little different when you're throwing it at women. Going to be honest, don't love it.
Where did the tradition come from for the Bills? I was just wondering. And also, too,
I was going to say.
Why do they jump through flaming tables?
Yeah.
I mean, they just do it because.
I think it was in the same brainstorming session as jumping off the table.
It seemed
off the RV to the table.
Okay. It seemed quite specific for the Bills fan. I thought there was some backstory. There's nothing except
is there
Bills
a surplus in the area? And they're like, what should we do with all of these? Let's throw them.
Yeah, it's called
Tom Brady.
It's called alcohol.
Yeah. The surpluses of Molson XXX or
I'm
Labatt
Googling
Blue.
now a Google search that I don't really want on my computer, but why do Bills fans throw blank?
You can go ahead and search it. I never knew that there was a motivation except for, of course, because he's beaten the Bills so many times. There's no other retribution. You can't get it on the field, so you might as well try to embarrass him. I don't love this. I hope this doesn't catch on for the WNBA. This feels very different to me. I don't know.
Is there an E in that word? Anyone know?
No.
Definitely
In the
not.
plural version, maybe?
Yeah, the plural version?
I would just throw an S on the end.
I don't know.
Well, it ends with an O, so
We were very certain about that, Bogusch.
grammar would
Well,
tell you.
they
an
only
E.
threw one on the floor. That's why you
Yeah.
were talking about one.
No, but for the Bills, that was multiple.
Yes, that's true.
I was at a game when this happened.
At a Bills game?
No. At a Fordham basketball game. It was on, I think, ESPN2.
Nice.
And
Someone threw a sex toy out on the court?
and threw it with skill because it landed dead center of the lane while people were lining up to shoot free throws.
Big meat. Wow, they probably should have signed whoever threw that because sometimes Ford has trouble scoring.
And one of the broom towel kids was the first person to it,
Oh, no.
and a ref had to come and snatch it away from him so he didn't fully pick it up. So that was a good time.
Sometimes the kids at basketball games, especially college games, sometimes those kids are like 9.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been touching it, looking at it, knowing what it was. Yeah.
He
And
may
I
still
heard the
not have
shot, by the
known.
way, you took there.
I'm sorry. I watched
noted.
the games. Sometimes it's trouble on the offensive end.
Here's
But, yeah.
I did find a guide on how to carry said apparatus to a Bills game, how to get it in.
In your pants.
Yeah.
Girl, you got it.
Well, you know,
All
You need to be
that.
sneaky.
Strike that from the record. Let's stay
I don't
hard.
know. I mean,
Where else are you going to put it? In a necklace? Like, how?
Wait, you're gonna carry it in your pants? What?
I thought you put it in.
Like you don't
I've
think
never
that
thought
would be
about this.
obvious?
Well, you can tilt it in a way where it's not
Zubaz are pretty baggy, Pearl.
Michael
I don't
Pennis.
know. I just had this. I think that might look even a little weird. Maybe I thought your bag or something, but
No, they're searching
you're like,
that.
well, of course you carried it in your pants. Everyone knows how to sneak that toy into a Bills
come
game.
to think about it, I never thought, how would you sneak that in? Because it's got to be pretty big if you're going to
Well,
get the effect that you want of it being seen on TV.
I'll send
Yummy.
you the link.
No. Don't send me the link.
By the way, this was a full game. They continued playing after a while, and Golden State won at 77-75 in Atlanta. Angel Reese returned from missing 2 games with a back issue, had 22 points, 13 rebounds, but the Sky lost their 6th in a row, 103-86 to the Mystics. Trey Hendrickson expected to report to Bengals camp today, ending his holdout, but without an extension. Hendrickson reportedly doing this as a good faith gesture in those negotiations. The Detroit Tigers apparently good at baseball again.
3-2. Swinging the fly ball, right field, deep, got a chance, gone! Zach McKinstry with number 9. 2-run shot, 3rd home run of the inning, 7-2 Tigers in the 5th.
That's Dan Dickerson on Tigers Radio, as he said 3 homers in a 6-run 5th. Detroit running away for a 12-2 W over Arizona. They've won 3 straight after a 1-12 slump. Diamondbacks third baseman Eugenio Suarez did not play that game, but an MRI and a CT scan showed no break in a finger after getting hit by a pitch 2 nights ago. So he presumably is still available ahead of tomorrow afternoon's trade deadline. So is Marlins ace Sandy Alcantara, 5 scoreless for him last night. Miami a 5-0 win in St. Louis. The Astros snapped their 5-game skid, 7-4 over Washington, and the Red Sox outscored the Twins 8-5. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thanks so much. Coming up, apparently everyone in their feelings about what's going on with Micah Parsons' contract. We've got the latest next. MMP.
Deeper.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. That sound means time for the Cowboy Quickie. And Pearl, I know you've already soured on all contract negotiation talk, but this one is
I don't
want to
be used.
No.
I don't want to be used by this contract because now every contract negotiation has to be public, especially the one I know you're about to get into.
Well, I mean, I think we want to bring this to our audience because there actually does feel like there's a significant update in the Micah Parsons v. Cowboys brouhaha. Here's Adam Schefter on his podcast talking about how the Cowboys and Parsons are nowhere close to coming to a deal.
I would say right now we're nowhere on that deal. I would say right now, Ty, we are further away from a deal in late July, early August than we were in late March, early April. The two sides have gone backwards, not forwards. I don't think they're speaking very much these days, if at all.
Okay, so he's talking to Ty Schmidt from the Pat McAfee show. So further away as we're getting closer to the season.
Why?
Doesn't generally work like that. Now, things are getting personal, and everyone's getting in their feelings. It's a little bit of a longer clip, but it's worth playing for you. Let me hear cut 10, please, Manny. Adam Schefter saying both sides, Micah Parsons and the Cowboys, are upset with each other over how these negotiations have gone.
It sounds like Dallas is upset with the fact that it felt like it was getting closer to a deal, and then that deal went sideways. And I think Micah Parsons feels like this deal should have been done, and we hear Dallas making all these comments. You heard Jerry come out the first day of camp, say the things that he did, talk about guys getting hurt, and it's not always worth it, and sometimes it's better off to wait. I don't think Micah is real happy with them. I don't think they're real happy with him.
Yeah, when guys always say in these contracts, Pearl, it's not personal, it's just business. Well, Schefter kind of implying that actually is getting kind of personal and that the feelings are getting involved.
Well, I think I know what happened. I think that Micah and Jerry talked. It was on camera all over the place, and they agreed to something. And then Jerry went on camera and said, I don't know Micah's agent's name. And David Mulugeta, his agent, who drives the hardest bargain probably in the NFL, I would say, because he did the Deshaun Watson deal, he's the closest thing there is to Scott Boras in the NFL right now.
Name.
The MLB agent. Like, does not give teams a bargain. So I think the agent probably got in there and said, you know what, Jerry, that was disrespectful. I'm going to get every penny I can out of this situation. I don't care what you agreed with Micah. And then, because Jerry, I guess I read, loves to go around the agent and try and negotiate these deals separately.
Sure.
So he thought they were talking, they thought they were on the same page. And obviously the agent was like, no, you're not going to do that. We're going to try and get every penny out of you. And Jerry is frustrated by that.
I don't know his name.
Yeah, I mean, well, then I would ask, is this a right move by the agent? Is it about the agent's ego because Jerry said he didn't know who he is? Or is it about actually getting what your client wants, which is presumably Micah Parsons already said, I would take a more friendly deal. I just want to be out there. At some point, who works for who?
Right, but in any negotiation, isn't the agent going to get you a better deal than the individual?
I would think so, but maybe Micah Parsons, not every guy goes after every last penny. Tom Brady, I don't think his agent, Don Yee, is a bad agent because Brady took less. I mean, every guy's a different guy. And I don't know if it's about the ego of the agent. The other part, too, if we're talking about this famous agent who's kind of like the Scott Boras of the NFL or whatever, did Deshaun, he's got the $230 million guaranteed, so he gets the last laugh. He also went to the Browns. Would it have been, I don't know if he would have still gotten hurt if he was somewhere else. And ultimately, you got the money, so maybe who cares? But his reputation has not been resurrected. They've made no headway in terms of the PR of the whole thing. Deshaun Watson's still a pariah to most people, so he hasn't done a lot of image rehab. And to be honest, he's on a team that we're only paying attention to because Deion's son is on it. So I don't know. Did he actually do right by his client, Deshaun Watson, there? He did because of the money, but Deshaun is still thought of as a pariah.
He got the greatest contract in the history of sport. A contract so impactful that the NFL basically had to collude to make sure it didn't happen again.
Not basically. They did collude.
Yeah. He got Deshaun Watson coming off a massive suspension, $222 million. The craziest
Well, he didn't get
contract.
suspended until after they signed it.
I would say yes. That was the best deal an agent has ever negotiated.
Okay. But Deshaun's career is probably
he might have
over.
gotten hurt anywhere.
Yeah, he might have gotten hurt everywhere, but he also hasn't done a lot of image rehab. But maybe they don't care because you're $230 million richer. But you always say, when are you going to spend that money? How are you going to spend it? Are you really that much better off? Deshaun Watson, $230 million guaranteed, $200 guaranteed. It's not my money. I'm not trying to count someone else's, but I don't know. You're rich beyond your wildest imagination, no matter what.
But let's be real. How do you define an NFL agent? What is it? NFL agent's job is not necessarily image rehab. It's how do I get you the best contract? That would feel more like a marketing guy anyway. The agents are really just about the contracts, right?
I don't know. That's your Cowboy Quickie. I just wonder if he's helping his guy here, Micah's going to get what he's going to get, right?
It could be Jerry, too. That's the thing about these public negotiations. We don't really know what both sides are offering.
No, but you're saying that you think that Mulugeta, the agent, got an ego, a swipe to his ego when Jerry said he didn't know who he is. You're supposed to... That it shouldn't be about you.
Bit of a theory, But I generally think if Jerry was going straight to Micah Parsons, that was probably a deal that favored the Cowboys. I would think that just structurally, I think Jerry thought he had a really in his mind, team-friendly deal. And I'll bet you the agent, and it's not just David McQuinn, any agent be like, hey, I want to protect my client. I want to get more years. That's often what the sticking point is. And I think that it probably is a pretty natural contract thing. But the fact that Jerry would try and go around the agent, to me, I would be suspicious of the owner in that case.
No doubt, but did anyone think Tom Brady was a patsy because he took less, or that he was some kind of weak negotiator, or that he was, Micah Parsons had said similar things to Brady. I want to get paid, but I also want to make sure that there's money for other people and to be on a good team. I think we all kind of praise Micah Parsons for that. I'm not saying he should get screwed over, that he should lay down and let the Joneses walk all over him. Not even close. But again, it seemed like there was a framework of a deal that Parsons was comfortable with. So
but
why mess it up?
I would just say the devil's in the details. We don't really know what's in that contract. There's so much money at stake. And again, it seems like every time I read about Trey Hendrickson or Terry McLaurin or all these contract issues, the player wants one more year.
Sure.
And the team is like, or the player wants something. So, it's big money. We're talking, he's going to be the highest paid non-quarterback. So I can see there being enough gray area where they would argue about it. The funny thing is he's going to sign this deal a week before camp.
Yep.
We all know it. And we're all going to
before the season.
And we're all going to rip the Cowboys for overspending.
The ripping the Cowboys for overspending already happened because they could have signed him so much earlier. And I know Stephen Jones was on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas yesterday saying, pushing back on the idea that they dragged their feet on these negotiations. That's fine. You can say that, but the evidence would tell you otherwise.
Well, now they're saying we tried. We thought we had it done. We gave him a good offer. So they're trying to put it on the player here. That's why I feel like...
but we have two Dak Prescott incidences. Yeah. We have CeeDee Lamb. Yeah. We've got Ezekiel Elliott. There's other ways that they've dragged their feet.
Right. But I'm saying they're trying to come out here maybe through Schefter saying, hey, we thought we had a deal done. We thought we had a good offer. We didn't try to drag our feet. This is on the player. That's why it's so hard to tell... And are you surprised at all that Jerry and Micah Parsons, I'd say Jerry is the most public owner in the sense that he says everything to the media. I'd say Micah Parsons might be the most public player. Nobody loves a Mike more than Micah Parsons. So, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Michael Parsons.
The show Quarterback on Netflix?
Yeah.
And they also did a spinoff they called Receiver. Remember that? Yeah. Why aren't we doing pass rusher?
It'd be amazing. Those guys are crazy.
I mean, I just wonder, does Parsons, is his, I hate this word, but his content, is it already promised to somebody else? Does he have a thing there? Because I'd like to see Micah Parsons.
Yeah, who else?
I think Myles Garrett.
See some dinosaur activity?
I mean, why not? There's some fun pass rushers. Maybe TJ Watt might be a little...
Well, I don't know.
Boring, but
JJ Watt was
kind
fascinating on Hard Knocks.
I mean, they're making Kirk Cousins look interesting. The power's in the post-production, everyone.
No, you need a contrast. You need a colorful guy and a less colorful guy.
You Nick Bosa? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Bosa is quiet, right? Isn't that?
How about Joey Bosa?
No, those his brother TJ. He's the man.
The Bosas, remember in the George Kittle thing when Nick Bosa showed up at his house? He's like, oh my God, Nick Bosa's out at night? What is going on here? Did someone die? It was... Max Crosby obviously be a no-brainer. He'd be amazing. Yes. I'm looking at the list. There are probably some personalities. You know who's really fun? I've been watching a lot. Brian Burns on the Giants. He's an incredible personality.
This dude, he calls himself Spider-Man, right?
Or Kayvon Thibodeau also maybe could be a...
He's always been
I was thinking Kayvon would be good.
He's a great character.
Oh, quite a character.
Aiden Hutchins is already in a million commercials. I mean...
I think we need pass rusher here before we need another skill position.
I think you're onto something. I mean, listen, any position would be fun. I'm sure that the linebackers are
next on Netflix.
All personality.
Guard.
I was going to say fullbacks.
They don't exist.
Yeah.
My favorite
punters.
My favorite part of the Joe Burrow quarterback show was when he was sitting around with his offensive lineman and somebody brought up a fact, and they have a human encyclopedia. Ted Karras is apparently a genius. So you could ask the guard anything, and he answers it. O-line, that's for me, the nerds. They're always the ones with the high GPAs, famously, is the O-line.
Yeah, they always help the college teams get their GPAs up. So, also, they're always the ones eating, although I guess that's the D-line, too.
Maybe we could we ourselves could put together a long snapper documentary.
I mean, those guys have got to be interesting, right?
Remember The Magician?
You look at this. Thank you, sir.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Owner of the Browns having to defend himself that he was not involved, Pearl, in selecting Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round of the draft. Welcome to the show. Yeah. I don't know. I can't really believe it because the fact of the matter is Jimmy Haslam says that there is a process about how they go about drafting quarterbacks. He is aware of the process, and to some extent, he's there kind of witnessing the process, and I don't think he's sitting there as a silent bystander. So, we all know what it's like to have a boss, and if you don't have a boss, you know what it's like to have clients, or everyone has to answer to somebody. Mm-hmm. So if you're the general manager of the Cleveland Browns, and your boss may not be there putting his thumb directly on the scale and saying, draft this guy, or sometimes they are, they can imply it. Because even if a guy says, I don't want to draft this person, which is well within your right if you're an owner, you could say, I don't want this guy representing my team. I think that's totally fair. So even if you just say, I don't want him, is that a tacit implying you should be drafting him or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. So it sounds like he's saying I had nothing to do with this pick, but you're putting out, and I agree that there's a gray area where you could have subtle influence on it. I mean,
it's called, like wielding soft power, right? Isn't that what they call it in diplomacy?
I think eventually Andrew Berry ends his stint in Cleveland and comes out and says that was Jimmy Haslam's pick. I don't even believe him because it doesn't make any sense. The problem, and I know that Cleveland reporters are saying it's from Berry, it just makes no sense why this GM, who has a good reputation around the NFL, would do this. Like, make it make sense then. If it's not the owner directive, then you have a GM who has a bizarre plan at the quarterback spot. Just strange.
So here is Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Browns, at a press conference yesterday on the decision to draft Shedeur.
We have good process, okay? And if you'd have told me, let's see, we picked him on Saturday, right? Friday night driving home, y'all are going to pick Shedeur, I would say that's not happening. But we had a conversation early that morning, and then we had a conversation later that day. I think we had the right people involved in the conversation. At the end of the day, that's Andrew Berry's call. Andrew made the call to pick Shedeur. Just like who's going to start or what play we're going to call is Kevin's call. But that's Andrew's call. He made the call.
Okay, well, a couple of follow-up questions I'd like there. Number one, he made the call, somebody has to phone it in. And two, was there ever any discussion? Because clearly the owner's involved in this process, and that's fine. That's his right. But he's not watching film. He's not watching any tape. Was there ever a discussion about the business side and about just even implying what Shedeur may do in terms of eyeballs? And this, if you had said Friday night that, we would have been surprised, if we drafted him. Well, it became the story of the draft. The later and the further this thing went on. And so whoever was going to draft Shedeur Sanders was going to get a lot of attention, a lot of headlines, and that's something that the Haslams love.
Yeah.
They do.
You're probably right. I mean, okay, let's take him at face value for a second, though. I kind of get it because I think you more so than me, like it seemed like there was a distressed asset that was falling way too low in the draft, and there have been teams who've had success turning around quarterback draft picks. The Patriots with Jimmy G comes to mind. The Eagles were under Andy Reid were the kings of this. Every backup quarterback went for a second round pick. So but in today's day and age, the thing about those two teams is they had Tom Brady and Donovan McNabb. Like the Browns don't have a quarterback. So did they know, if not Jimmy, then didn't they know chaos was coming? What did they expect to happen here?
I think they courted the chaos. I think that Jimmy Haslam sees an opportunity here, right? I think that's, what they say about, I've heard this before. I don't speak Mandarin, so I don't know, but the same word in Mandarin for chaos is also opportunity. I've heard that before. I think that maybe he saw, listen, somebody is going to get major headlines, and be honest, maybe ticket sales. Because what else are you selling here if you're the Browns? You're selling that you are easily the fourth team in this division. You're selling what? That we re-signed Myles Garrett. Okay, great. That's good. We're re-signing, look at the Deshaun mess. Look at what you did there.
Well, no, what 3-14 team is selling anything?
Well, that's
you were
what I'm
3-14. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe
Yeah,
a businessman
okay.
like
Yeah.
Jimmy Haslam saw an opportunity to, jump on a craze, something that was going to end up being a craze. Now,
You tried it with Johnny Football and it didn't work. I don't disagree at all, but I'm just saying, like, he should have learned his lesson with Johnny Manziel because that philosophy never works.
ironically had it with Baker Mayfield, and they shipped him out.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I'm not sure they were headed for a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield,
No, but he's probably a top 10 quarterback.
in Tampa, I don't know in Cleveland if that was still going to be the case.
Well, went to won a playoff game, which is a lot for Cleveland. But here's Mary Kay Cabot, who we all respect very much, got into the Hall of Fame. She's been coming to the Browns for a long time. She says it's disrespectful. This is on the Brown and Orange pod. Says it's disrespectful to say Haslam made the Shedeur pick. Disrespectful to the GM, Andrew Berry.
I think it's almost disrespectful to Andrew, who has final say over these decisions. Andrew is the one driving the bus on this roster. That's what his job is. And I know that Jimmy is involved and he's part of the discussions, but he's not sitting there watching film and watching tape and trying to decide who can be on this football team and who can't be on this football team.
Yeah, I'm going to respectfully disagree with Mary Kay there that it's not disrespectful to Andrew Berry because, again, we all have a boss, or we all know what it's like to have a boss. And sometimes the boss is going to influence what you do, whether it's hard power, soft power, whatever it is. It's not disrespectful to say Andrew Berry is just like almost 99% of America who has to navigate what it's like to try to do and execute the will of a boss.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. If you're telling me an NFL GM gets pushed around by his owner, that's not disrespectful? Like,
I don't think so.
If I told you Jeffrey Lurie told Howie Roseman to draft somebody, you'd be like, that's crazy.
Well, they're also, he's a Super Bowl champion GM, so maybe you can trust him a little bit more. Andrew Berry hasn't won jack squat.
But that's the ultimate sign of disrespect to a GM is to say the owner made you pick him. Like, that's like the number one critique, right?
Well, but I just think that happens. Like, I don't
It does on bad teams.
Okay, and what's this?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, when did the Browns become the picture of, like, how to run things in the NFL? It's a reality. I guess maybe I see it a little bit differently. I don't think it's a disrespect. I think it's a reality. And you have some owners that do it and some don't. Like we saw in Hard Knocks, offseason Hard Knocks with the Giants, right? John Mara clearly wanted Saquon Barkley back, but didn't use that power, right? Didn't say you must re-sign him or else everyone's getting fired.
Saquon Barkley.
Didn't do it. I think Jimmy Haslam is somebody who would put his thumb on the scale more.
Yeah, and right. Like that's clearly, without any doubt, the number one flaw of any disorganized franchise.
I agree.
The Cowboys, the Browns, the Jets. I mean, I would listen to the owner's sons. I think there's something there. I think that's a new
the Madden
analytic.
Rating. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's better than the owner. Owners famously screw up, and in all sports, right? Like if you see a team that's losing year after year, you immediately say, "Oh, is the owner getting down here?" And that seems to be the case in Cleveland. Yeah, I mean, that would be a horrible disrespect for Andrew Berry, no? To say that Jimmy Haslam made him do that pick?
Well, I just think it's a reality of life in the NFL. But here's a question for you. If you just zoom out on this, and we're talking about the Browns quarterback situation, shockingly, a bit of a mess, who will be blamed more if this whole quarterback thing fails, right? Like if Shedeur never becomes a thing, if Dylan Gabriel never becomes a thing, even backups. I'm not saying they have to win the Super Bowl, but they all flame out. Pickett's not there for a long time. Flacco's in his 17th season. He's not going to be around for very long. Are you going to you can add the Deshaun Watson thing into the mix, which we know Jimmy Haslam ponied up for that. Who do you think will wear this if this era of Browns football produces absolutely nothing?
100% the Haslams. I think Andrew Berry's going to leave there, and everyone's like, thank God you got out of there. I think this is all going to be about Cleveland. Because Berry got there in 2020. The 2010s Browns are maybe the most dysfunctional organization we've ever seen.
Right.
They won one game in 3 years. So I think everyone's going to look at the color of the helmet and say, that is the problem.
I agree with you. However, can I float this? We were just talking last hour about Arch Manning, okay? And Arch Manning couldn't beat out Quinn Ewers, right? When you had these two guys in the building, Ewers was hurt at times, wasn't an amazing quarterback, good college quarterback, 7th round pick. Why couldn't he beat him out? If Andrew Berry is this mastermind GM, right, who is just so good at his job, but here are the Haslams holding him back. Why hasn't another team tried to poach him? Why hasn't a better team with a better owner just come in and offered him to, I'm sure they just re-upped their contracts last year. He and Stefanski both got contract extensions. Why sign it? If you can't do what you want, if the owner is disrespecting you or you feel the disrespect, why stay if you're so confident in your ability? Go somewhere else. Go run the Patriots. Go run who's a good team.
So you're saying you think that Andrew Berry, who's at one winning season, was going to be able to just name his GM job?
Well, you're saying that he's not going to wear any of this. He's well thought of, and people think he's this great general manager. And he's just being held back by the color of the helmet. Then why hasn't he gone somewhere else better?
Well, I don't think he's going to get a general manager job, but I think he's going to immediately get a personnel job. I think he's thought of well. I'm not
that's
saying
a downgrade.
Yeah, 100%, of course. Okay. Yeah, but no, I think Andrew Berry is really well thought of around the league. I think he'll probably get an assistant GM somewhere the day he gets fired, which is
that's
totally
more
fine.
Disrespect than anything. No,
he just had a 3-14 season. Oh, no, I think that's fine, right? What did you expect him to go from number one pick in the draft to getting a run the Patriots?
No,
happen?
You're saying that he's not going to wear any of this because
I don't think so.
Because it's the helmet. Well, if he's not going to wear any of it, and people were giving him, including on this show, a lot of respect for pulling off the trade between Jacksonville and themselves to get that pick for next year, why not? Why haven't the great teams come calling for him? They can see, you're just working for a bad owner. Come to my system.
I'll bet you he goes straight to the Eagles, who are because his brother, I think, is still there. His brother, who's a twin, and they look exactly the same. We saw him last year at the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I'll bet you he goes straight to one of the better teams in the league because he is very well thought of.
That's fine, but if he's going to get it down, okay. Well, anyway, we can go around and around about this.
No. I mean, I
think he's going to wear even though I think Jimmy Haslam is a meddling owner, I still think that Andrew Berry is going to wear some of this because you've had so many multiple bites at the apple here, and we got nothing because absolutely nothing. And we've seen teams that even with a quarterback that's not top 10 still be consistent playoff teams. You don't need necessarily to have one of the best quarterbacks. Look at what the Vikings just did with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold been a reclamation project. They won 14 games. You can still build a great roster even if you don't have the most elite quarterback.
Yeah, but not if you're dealing with the chaos in the front office of Cleveland. Nobody can. I'm not even Kevin Costner. I mean, listen, the dude traded up for a linebacker, number one. I think there's the history of yeah.
In the movie Draft Day.
The guys before, for example, Andrew Berry, were John Dorsey, still has a great reputation, I think. He kind of built the Chiefs. And Sashi Brown, I think Sashi Brown is working somewhere now. He immediately got a big job. I think people will say, you're with the Browns. What do you expect? I mean, that happens all over industry and sports. If you work for a crazy owner, I don't know, you wear it
I don't know if I keep signing contract extensions with him if I feel like the owner's holding me back. 888-710-4ISN, yes.
The Cowboys are a mess, but everyone blames Jerry, not Will McClay.
Is Stefanski going to wear any of it?
That's the interesting one because I think he'll get a job fast, which is interesting because I think everybody wants a really good play caller. I think Stefanski gets a head coaching job, even if they're terrible. Don't you? And we all he's a 2-time coach of the year for one thing, but I think he calls that Kubiak-Shanahan offense as good as anyone. So I think he would get a job really fast.
And let's not forget Shallow.
I'm just looking up really quickly how many coach of the year Bill Belichick has won.
I think it's
2.
1 or 2. Yeah,
3 for the Associated Press. 3-time Pro Football Writers. So he's won 3 and has 6 Super Bowls, and Kevin Stefanski has won 2 Coach of the Years. Tell me this award is broken without telling me it's broken.
Brian Dable has 1.
Yeah, that's also silly.
A young offensive coordinator play caller is catnip to these owners.
I know.
They will, I think the funny thing is, does Stefanski wear it? In my opinion, no. I think it's the Browns.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Got a pet peeve I've got to get off my chest. We'll do that next. Plus, we will look at what does a successful season look like for these NFL teams. Don't worry, plenty of college football coming your way as well. It's Maggie Perloff.
Woof, woof.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Andrew Bogusch, lost in the fog. Bogusch weeps. He's got the road trip blues. Left behind, feeling like he's bound to lose. Oh, Uncle Sam's.
Uncle Sam's on YouTube. Tune in for some laughs. With a beer in his hand and his feet on the grass. He cheers for the Bogusch and Perloff with a toast to the day. 4th of July is the best, you'll hear him say. Raise your glass, light the sky, it's the 4th once more. Uncle Sam's got stories that you can't ignore. From Maggie to Perloff, he's got quite the plan to celebrate freedom with a drink in his hand. Uncle of the year with a patriotic twist. Watching sports and sipping brews, none he's missed. He jokes and he laughs, spills some too, it's alright. Cause Drunkle Sam's in charge of the fun tonight. Raise your glass, light the sky, it's the 4th once more. Drunkle Sam's got stories that you can't ignore. From Maggie to Perloff, he's got quite the plan to celebrate freedom with a drink in his hand. On the fireworks boom and the stars are out, Drunkle Sam's still laughing, oh there's no doubt. So here's to the uncle who loves his brew. Happy 4th of July from the YouTube crew. So watch with Sam have a laugh or two. He's the life of the party, brought to you by YouTube. With Maggie and Perloff, it's always a jam. Happy Independence, cheers Drunkle Sam. Uncle of the year. Down by the docks. Oh, yo. L.O. Man, he's got a whip full bass swinging with flair. Behind the glass, he's waving it in the air. Now that's bright yellow, could do some harm. If he's not careful, it'll raise the alarm. EJ's sitting close, looking a bit tense. He knows one wrong move could be at his expense. Man, he swings wild like he's aiming to score. EJ's ducking low, getting ready to hit the floor.
One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. Can I tell you something that embarrasses me every single time it happens? I don't know if this happens to you guys. So obviously we're kind of like online. We kind of have to be because we're on social media quite a bit.
When you trip on your gigantic feet.
Well, that happens so much. I've stopped being embarrassed by it. It's a way of life. A way of life for me. When somebody posts something on social media and you go to like it and you realize they posted it 10 seconds ago. It's like, oh, I didn't mean to love it.
Yeah, I know. I gotcha.
It's such a face palm. I don't know if that happens to me. I know we're kind of unique because we're so tied to the news and social media, but has that happened to you, Pearl?
You know what? I get alerts on my phone, so sometimes, and it's rarely, I don't like a lot of posts. So, but sometimes I see like so-and-so, and let's say it's a friend, post something personal, and I see it immediately and I like it. But I feel like that's kind of normal because people know you have alerts coming to your phone, at least on X. On Instagram, maybe. Is this more of an Instagram thing?
It can be both. I've done it multiple times on multiple platforms. Facebook. I mean, everyone you're possibly on, I've done this. And especially when it's like an acquaintance and it's not like if it's my best friend, what do I care, right? But if it's like someone who's an acquaintance, then it kind of feels like maybe you're stalking their social because you liked it right away.
Now, me personally, I'm petrified that I come off as chronically online.
Yeah.
I don't really want that, so that's why I'll turn off my phone and give it about 60 seconds before I turn it back on.
60 whole seconds.
That
wow.
solves it.
That is a way to hold back.
I know what you mean, though. I've tried to cut out the phone. It's just sitting there waiting for you to look at it.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. Well, when I was single, that was the tricky thing was you don't want to look too thirsty, right?
Yeah,
the girl, post a picture and you go to like it, but you got to check and see, all right, how many people have liked this? You don't want to be the first one unless you're just, I don't know, a crazy man. And you're like, yeah, I like it.
Or you're that thirsty.
Well, so Dan Soder, the comedian who's married to Katie Nolan, right? They're kind of funny power couple, media couple. Dan Soder has such a funny bit about how Instagram will show you so many people liked this post and someone and especially if it's like a bikini picture of a model or something, it's like 50,000 people like this and Billy, you horny guy. Dan's bit on this is hilarious.
Well, back in the day,
I just pulled that up.
In the early days of Instagram, there used to be a page where you can see like people's activities, so you could see like what Bogusch is liking on social media.
Andrew Bogusch and Andrew Perloff liked a picture by M. Rata.
Yeah. Emily Ratajkowski wearing yoga pants,
it was
guys.
Destroying men. It was destroying everybody, but definitely men. Destroying them.
Well, it's a big topic of conversation about whether it's disrespectful for men in a relationship to like photos or send messages to pretty women. Even if they're celebrities and stuff, just say, well, no, I think most of the people who are controversial are dead now.
Yeah.
But I do think it happens, or guys get used to liking model photos, and then you get into a relationship, and someone's like, why are you liking Giselle? Maybe Giselle's a bad one. Sydney Sweeney, why are you liking her photos when we're in a relationship?
Yeah, no, that's a real thing.
I think it's a thing.
That's also called insecurity.
From the woman's side of you.
Oh, 100%.
See, this is, and now you're in a fight.
Listen,
and now the weekend's ruined.
Listen, like there's Batman year one and EJ year one of my relationship, which is now my fiance. It wasn't even likes. It was just, I'm on Instagram, and it's like, who's that? Why is that? Why are you following that person?
Oh, just following.
Yeah, and I'm like, I've knew this person, or I followed them before I met you. And it's like, why didn't you unfollow them?
But also...
It's a thing.
Is it famous people, though, or people who could actually be a threat to your relationship? Because Sydney Sweeney is not walking through that door. Anne Hathaway.
That's it.
EJ's big celebrity crush.
Why is
not
Maggie
walking
crushing dreams?
It's not.
You don't know what's going to happen, Maggie.
It wasn't. I don't know. It's not Anne Hathaway famous, but it may be like a model, or maybe like just some woman that has 10,000 followers because she's cute or whatever.
Right.
It's not someone that I would probably ever meet or know.
Exactly. So why are you getting all angry and stuff? I'm never gonna meet Sydney Sweeney. I'm never gonna meet any of these people. It's not that big of a deal.
Why are you liking her photos?
Because she's a famous person. I'm helping her brand.
Oh yeah, she definitely needs your help, Manny.
Yeah. Where would Sydney Sweeney be without that one like from Manny Rodriguez?
Damn right.
Why would you like, for example, LeBron tweet or Instagram? Like, what's the point of liking that? So you sit and you like celebrities' posts? I've never.
Well, sometimes you want to do it for your algorithm. So, like, if I want to see, like, I want to make sure I see LeBron post. I want to make sure I see whatever, or like for the Knicks, maybe I want to make sure I see these guys post. You want to like it, therefore Instagram knows to keep showing it to you.
Yeah.
Now, if I keep,
that's a good excuse.
but if you want, same thing though. If you want to keep liking M. Rada's posts, you want to keep seeing them. You should keep liking them and keep staying on the page. Like that's how this stuff works.
I don't like them, and I still see them.
Well, she's super famous.
Yeah.
She probably has a deal with Instagram.
What's up with
Meta.
your algorithm?
By the way, you don't
want to
like
see that
him.
page.
You don't have to like him. You just if you're on it for 3 seconds, and boom, you're getting a lot of what then immediately gets it.
But
right?
Bogusch, does Katie mind if you follow beautiful women on Instagram?
I don't think she. No,
She doesn't care.
No, I mean, no, because and I wouldn't care if she liked a, Brad Pitt or Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, that's a healthy
photo.
relation.
Like I don't. It doesn't matter.
You guys are gonna last.
I think it would matter if it was non-celebrities. Like I don't follow random hot girls, but I follow some famous hot girls. Like
You
all
guys
the
know
ones
the
you
deal.
mentioned, I follow.
Like if the boob shot comes on Twitter, you got to get off that instantly, or you're within seconds,
Or the
you're gonna
conspiracy
get hit
theory
with a
videos.
Yeah,
I've
like
made that
Maggie was
mistake.
like, why is my timeline filled with conspiracy
Yeah, all
theories?
I've been doing is talking about the JFK assassination
Well, no,
for the
but you
last
probably
6 months.
watched a video,
Right?
And then boom, you're dead. Like if you got to get off, you got to move fast off that boob shot, or you're in trouble.
You're asking men to move fast off a boob shot, Pearl? That's
We can do it. No, I mean, for
that's
no,
impossible.
Men know this. Trust me. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
If you watch do not click that video. Just get off fast. Otherwise, your feed is going to be all boob shots.
I've
So
spent minutes whenever I feel like my algorithm's going south. It's like I would just spend minutes hitting not interested, not interested, not interested, and it'll set my kind of algorithm back. But yeah, no. As soon as they think you want something, they're gonna be like, "Here you go," 100% of the time.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I'm like, what are these idiots talking about today? And I'll watch something about aliens or whatever.
Or it's
you
like
stare at women who are breastfeeding?
And then there's like
big time.
9 in a row.
Or it's like a clip of Denise Richards making out with a woman in that
Oh,
movie.
movie.
Like
Wild
you watch a Wild Things clip for 2 seconds, you're done for life. Right?
Wild. Well,
You got to get off that.
Wait, do you not know this movie?
Man,
Manny?
you don't know about Wild Things?
Wow, that's crazy.
Nev Campbell's the other woman.
That's crazy that you've never seen that clip. No, what our former boss Spike Essing always said, and I've had this issue. The worst one for
I see
me.
a bunch of Vince Vaughn.
No.
The worst
Major League Wild Thing.
No. Is it called Wild
That's
Things?
Ricky
what the movie's
Vaughn.
called?
Anyway.
The movie's called something else.
Vince Vaughn. Yes, Ricky Vaughn.
Wasn't it called Wild Things?
Yeah.
It was called Wild Things. Why I thought something? I don't know.
Bill Murray.
Anyway,
Is
EJ,
it?
finish your
Matt
shot.
Dillon.
Oh, Manny,
Great
turn your
movie.
mic off for a sec.
No, so I was saying, Spike Eskin, he used to always talk about these weird videos where guys are going to like Nashville's Broadway or some very popular area to talk to very intoxicated, drunk girls and ask them.
Haktua.
Yeah,
How she got
It's
famous.
kind of how that started, right? And like ask them like these very sexual, provocative questions. Like those videos, they want to just throw down. Like every time I see those, I'm like not interested, not like those are the worst. I hate those videos so much.
I'm very
Seem
interested in this.
Seemed kind of harmless, but anyway.
What the? What's your body count? I don't want to know some random girl's body count. That's weird.
How about this? Do you like to see videos when people ask, "What's your salary?" Do you see those?
I don't
How
think
much
those
would
are
you
real.
make? Okay.
Never heard of those.
Okay.
Yeah, or how much you pay for rent. There's a lot of them in Manhattan.
Yeah, but that's like a New York thing, I think.
It's like guy who goes around people's apartments and
Yeah.
they let them inside.
So our own Andrew Kaplan is asking, how would you know who your significant other follows on social media? Interesting question.
Well, you can check.
You check their followers unless they're
Right,
Or they're
but, like,
sitting next to you.
Is there a trust factor there? Maybe.
Nope.
Also, the chat asking, Bogusch, go through Katie's phone today and see who she follows, then let's see how you feel. LOL.
I couldn't care less.
I don't think
I
men
really
care.
couldn't.
Only Morale said that.
Yeah, I'm more likely to follow I don't know.
Oh, I'm
Daniel Craig than she is. I don't know. Like who's yeah. I'm always like, wow, I'm always trying to get her to admit that she's interested in a handsome guy in a movie, and she does not care. She's like, dude, I have a life. Like, I'm not going to sit there and
I'm busy.
Yeah, I'm not.
Your wife you're talking about says,
yeah, she's
dude,
like,
I
I'm
have
not
a life.
12.
I live it with you.
Even my 14-year-old's over that. Like, that's no, the teenagers, by the way. That is a complicated web of that's intense. That I have a 14-year-old at home, and who likes what? That is front page news. Like Billy liked this post from Anna, and it's just geez, stop the presses.
Oh,
Whole day one.
Oh my God! If you're single and you're young, then it's a totally different scenario. But we're old. Like, what do we all care?
Speak for yourselves.
Flip side is always when you see certain people start liking your post, and you're like, "What does this mean?
They love me.
Is this a green light or no?"
They sweat me.
What I like to do is send DMs to Jalen Brunson. That's how I get.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Any response?
Yeah, no, not yet.
He's definitely seen those.
let's get to Bogusch.
I would hope so.
With the latest and greatest. What's up, dude?
He still doesn't have that mega extension, but Bengals defensive end Trey Hendrickson expected to end his holdout and check into training camp this morning. This is apparently Hendrickson showing his desire to reach an agreement with the team. We're told the two sides still arguing over the amount of guaranteed money in a new contract. Dolphins O-lineman Byron Matos reportedly left the hospital over the weekend after being airlifted there following an injury during practice last week. We still don't know the exact injury or the prognosis, but we were told last week that Matos had movement in all his extremities. Brave star Ronald Acuna Jr. missed most of last season, got a late start to this one with a torn ACL. He was back to form until the last few days in Kansas City. Acuna pulled from right field in the sixth inning of a 9-6 Braves win last night after struggling to run down two balls, the team calling it right Achilles tightness and putting him on the IL. Manager Brian Snitker.
The doctor said it'd probably be at least 10 days. Again, everybody heals differently, so, it's just one of them things you don't want to mess with.
Acuna said he was worried about the injury. He said he first felt something running the bases Monday night, but did not want to sit out last night since he has missed so many games in recent memory. The Mets believe they dodged the bullet last night. Juan Soto made an early exit after fouling a pitch off his foot.
I think we're going to be good. We just got to get the slowing down. Whenever it's slowing is down, I think we're going to be fine. I mean, the X-rays are negative, so it's a good sign. So we just got to wait for the slowing to come down and go back to where I'm at.
As he said, X-rays negative. He's day-to-day for now. The Mets lost the game 7-1. Manny Machado capping off a 5-run seventh with a 3-run blast for the Padres.
What's in.
The Giants took a 3-1 home loss from the Pirates. They've now dropped 5 straight overall and their last 7 home games. Kyle Schwarber, a 2-run homer in the Phillies' 6-3 win at the White Sox. And the Brewers beat the Cubs again, 9-3 for a 2-game lead atop the NL Central. In WNBA last night, the Aces took care of the Sparks, 89-74. Asia Wilson, 34 points and 10 boards. Cam Brink had 5 and 3 in 13 minutes in her season debut for LA. Brink tore an ACL 13 months ago. Guys, back to you.
You're not going to do the sex toy thing every hour?
I am not.
Okay. I guess people can...
That's a crazy question you asked them.
Yeah, that is crazy. Somebody threw a sex toy on the court. I should have worded that differently.
Adult toy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You also should...
You're not going to do the sex
Get
toy
your
thing
jolly
every
somewhere
hour.
else.
That's crazy.
Well, I think
get my jolly somewhere else. You're the one who I didn't even see it until you
I brought it
up.
once because it was news, and then you want it every hour.
Well, I don't want it. I was just asking if you're going to do it.
I think one sex
It's
toy
all going worse.
It does not mean anything. If it's a trend, then we're going to have to really,
Dive
dig
in.
into the story.
Well,
yeah, but just one, I don't know what you're going to do with that. That's not worth every hour.
Go
If
Bills.
it starts to become a trend, then I think that maybe we have a segment around this.
Should I do my sportsman today, asking people not to make this a trend? Like, let's not copycat this?
Do we really need to give a PSA on this topic?
Didn't work in Buffalo. Kept throwing him at Tom Brady for years.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm wet.
do you
I'm
think
dirty.
that, on this topic, do you think there's going to be some strongly worded op-eds about how this is wrong, or? I don't know. I'm not even sure. I don't even totally understand like what people are trying to send them. Whatever the message is, it's lost on me.
This one feels it feels different to throw this on the court at a women's sporting event
but it
than
is slightly
a men's.
confusing though, right?
Yeah, it's kind of odd. But apparently the women were laughing at it. I went to go look at the story once Bogusch brought our attention to it.
Stuff all over the place.
They were laughing. They were taking it in stride. It feels a little weird to do that at a women's basketball game.
But for the Bills, there is like an official fan guide on how to bring sex toys into the stadium, and it does say don't throw them during a play because if someone trips on that,
it's a flag.
No, I mean you could really you could ruin a career. I mean that happens all the time where people trip on sex toys and tear an ankle sprain.
She's worried about 15-yard penalties, and he's over here worrying about ligaments.
Listen, I don't want to lose a game that way. If it's
Justin
Buffalo.
Fields hurt his
The
pinky
Bills have
toe,
lost
and it was
games in weird ways,
Yeah.
Manny. Like, trust me.
But when you say official, do you mean it's posted at bills.com next to their
Yeah.
clear bag policy?
No, it's
or-
whitehouse.gov.
I mean, you should see the image. It says there's a beer can with a X through it. There's a battery, the batteries that fuel mobile bikes, and then there's a sex toy.
A shrug, like
Yeah.
only at the right time.
Yeah.
5-year-old Bills fan. Mommy, what's that?
It's-
I mean,
yeah.
if there's any fan base where a sign like that would exist, it would be in Buffalo.
Well, sometimes they have like designated tailgating areas. They say like this is the designated area where you can throw stuff. It's not totally banned, just it's got to be in this area, away from the kids. 888-710-4ISN. Coming up, what does a successful season look like for these NFL teams? So do that next.
Go Bills.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We like to set the expectations for certain NFL teams, Pearl. Like, we like to live in reality, I think. We've been doing a segment called What Would a Successful Season Look Like for These Teams? We've been doing 4 a day, all different types of teams, all different places in the standings. So EJ will give us a team. We'll tell you what a successful season would look like for them. Go ahead, EJ.
All right. So let's begin with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Successful season for the Jacksonville Jaguars would be?
To me, if you want to go macro, it's got to be playoffs. If you want to go micro, it's got to be Trevor Lawrence looks like a top 6 quarterback in this league with Liam Cohen now, and Travis Hunter gets through the season injury-free. So there's a 3-pronged approach here. Playoffs, you're in a division that is, I think it's winnable.
Duval.
You have a generational quarterback, or so we thought. Time for that to start showing itself. And also, Travis Hunter's got to make it through the season healthy. What about you, Pearl?
Yeah, I can't go any different. I totally agree. It's got to be about Trevor Lawrence. I don't know about the playoffs. Like, if they're 8-9 and Trevor Lawrence looks good and promising, I think you'd feel good about Liam Cohen. Because they're a bit of a rebuild. Let's face it. Like, the core of that team that was really, really good in 2017 is long gone. They have holes all over their roster. Their defense definitely has major question marks. So I think to say this is a playoff ultimatum is unfair. But you're right. You got to see Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence work well together.
We are in year 5 of Trevor Lawrence. It's time to start really making the playoffs a regular thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, look at that team, though.
They've had so many top picks. They should be no doubt.
Yeah,
they just can't pick a coach.
Well, listen, they honestly they made a lot of mistakes. Like, they took Trayvon Walker right before Aiden Hutchinson, although he's playing a little better. But they took Travis Etienne in the first round. Now they apparently don't want him, and they made a lot of bad picks.
Who's next?
Duval.
Set to the ATL, a successful season for the Atlanta Falcons would be?
Oh my God! I mean, this is rinse, wash, and repeat. The Atlanta Falcons have to make the playoffs with all these first-round picks all over. I normally, like we said, well, Michael Penix has to look good. No, there's no Michael Penix who looks good. You have to be in the postseason or Arthur Blank's head is going to explode. Like, it is long overdue that they finally win this division. I got to be honest, I felt better about them last year than I do this year. So you have stars, you have a young quarterback. Like, it is playoffs now or never. And all you have to do is make it. You don't have to win anything now.
Yeah, I think win the division. Got to be, right? And
that's how they're going to make the playoffs.
And we don't think that there's going to be a wild card team that's going to come from the NFC South. So win the division, got to be. And, I think also, and on top of that, I think Penix has to also look really good, which is now going to be another drop that Manny's going to play. I don't know what to do, guys. It's his last name.
By the way,
Michael P.
One of the probably biggest storyline to me that people aren't talking about out of Atlanta. Did you know that we were all pronouncing Bijan Robinson's name wrong?
Yeah, I saw that, and I felt like a dope because we've interviewed him
Why
before.
did you feel like a dope?
Well, because we like to pride ourselves in when people come on the show, treating them with a lot of respect as a guest, and we've had him on the show, and we call him Bijan, and apparently it's Bijan.
Yeah, but he had not been, well, why was that our fault? He had not been correcting people for years.
I'm assuming it had to be in the Texas media guide when we talked to him, but I don't know. Felt a little silly.
No, see, I think people had openly called him Bijan, and he responded to it and never, ever said anything. Like, this happened many times where players have been like, everyone's been saying my name wrong all these years, but I didn't want to say anything. And that's what he said. So
yeah. Travis and Travis Kelce.
Also,
apparently it's not pronounced Kelsey.
The Saquon said that Bijan is better than him at cutting, too. So there's a lot of expectations. But again, how many years are we going to do this with the Falcons? Like, oh, my God, there's so much talent. Do something. Just please make the playoffs.
All right, let's head down to Maryland. The Baltimore Ravens. A successful season for the Baltimore Ravens would be?
Win the Super Bowl. I mean, it sounds simple. It's been really, really hard. You got a 2-time MVP. You don't have to go through the bona fides of what the Ravens bring to the table. You have a Super Bowl winning head coach. I just did it. Win the Super Bowl. That's it.
Okay. Again, I agree with you, but let me ask you a question. If Lamar Jackson just gets to a Super Bowl, that is, I think, a bit of an identity changer because he would get there before Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he would jump him on the quarterback list. I think that would be, you're right, this team should win the Super Bowl, but I think getting to a Super Bowl would be a big deal for Lamar Jackson.
Okay, but that definitely helped Joe Burrow, right? Getting to the Super Bowl, like raised his stock was already really high, but raised it even more. But as it lasted, like, if we're talking about a potentially all-time great player, a 2-time MVP, don't you have to win it?
I think there's a major difference between Dan Marino and Phillip Rivers. Rivers never made a Super Bowl. At least Marino made one Super Bowl. Listen, he hasn't even gotten, they should have won 2 years ago. They should have been there. I think if they get to it and say they lost to, a team out of Philadelphia in the Super Bowl, that's what I'm dreaming, an all-bird matchup. I think that would be a big deal for Lamar because he's been really bad in the playoffs, Maggie. I mean, to get to the Super Bowl would mean he would at least get some of that off of his back.
Yeah, but what if he gets to the Super Bowl and doesn't play well? Then it reinforces that, you're this playoff. I don't say choker. I don't think it's not that bad yet, but.
Well, yeah, but he would have to get through Kansas City and Buffalo to get there. So I think I would not worry about that.
Penix has to also look really good. It's the worst.
Okay.
Can this guy change his last name, please?
And final one here. We're going to head to Tinseltown. A successful season for the Los Angeles Rams would be.
I'm going to say NFC title game, but they kind of need Matthew Stafford to be healthy for that. So because they were arguably the second best team in the NFC last year. They played the Eagles. It was snowy, and the Eagles let their foot off the pedal. But they were probably the second best team in the NFL, and they're young, except for Stafford. So right now, I think they probably upgraded because Cooper Kupp was ever healthy. So they have Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. There's no better receiving core than that. If you have Stafford out on the field and you have Jared Verse and all the young defenders, there's no reason that they shouldn't be a real factor in the NFC playoffs.
Yeah, I'm going to go one step below that. I think divisional round, making the playoffs, winning a playoff game, I think is what people expect.
Expect or what? I thought
what
the question
would be successful? They're coming
successful?
off a season where do people think that was successful?
Right. But
and they lost to the divisional round.
Yeah, but don't you have to take the next step?
I don't know, because Stafford is not even going to training camp yet because his back is sore. So I'm trying to keep this as reasonable as expectations as possible. I mean, the guy's a year older. They went through this contract dance in the offseason. They basically told him, try to go find a better deal. I don't know. I think if you get to the divisional round, and as long as you don't lose to the Lions, I think you're probably, and people will say, "Oh, look at Sean McVay. He did it. He did it again."
Man, I think it'd be bad if they do make the playoffs and they lose in the divisional round. I think it's rebuild time, right? I mean, then Stafford's gone because he's 37. What's the point?
This could be his last season anyway.
If you're gonna hit that wall, but why would you not think? Oh man, we are really we've been, now that we're back into the draft pick game, we've been killing it. I think that they view these young defensive guys like, whoa, we got something pretty special here.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I'm not that bullish that Stafford's going to be able to make it through a season. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. If any of those caught your eye.
I also think, by the way, did you see the story that Devontae Adams tried to correct the narrative on Jimmy G?
I did see
that. He said that was just, we were all miserable with the Raiders. I honestly think, and you probably disagree with this, that Jimmy G could win a bunch of games with Sean McVay. I don't think this team. I don't know. I saw Jimmy G doing it with Kyle Shanahan. Why couldn't he do it with McVay? I'm not saying they're going to be 13-4 with Jimmy G, but I feel like that's a very high-end backup.
Okay, that's fine. But when you say a bunch of games, you mean playoff games? You mean regular season games?
I think
what are you talking about?
I think if Stafford's hurt during the regular season, but it's not season-ending, I feel like Jimmy G can hold the fort, and then they can get to the playoffs where they would be really tough because I think that they've kind of designed themselves now where they can be a running team or a passing team, and their defense, if this pass rush looks like it did at the end of last year, whoa, that could be a real problem. So I think Jimmy G could keep them alive to get out of the NFC West. And then in my fantasy here, Stafford gets healthy again for the playoffs.
I'm not as bullish on Jimmy G. I think it's been a while since we've seen him have some success. And, Devontae Adams can try to paper mache over this whole thing. He said, he's getting me killed and I want him benched. He's throwing him hospital balls out there. I don't think anything will work out well if they have to count on Jimmy G for more than 2-3 games.
Gosh, I think I have so much more faith in Sean McVay. I feel like he can do some things. I picture him as he's almost exactly the same person as Kyle Shanahan, and Shanahan had, there's no doubt, great success with Jimmy G.
Yeah,
remember when Jimmy G came in 2 years ago, and he ended up getting hurt again, of course, but he was awesome.
Do you remember when they kept him away from the meeting rooms because they were so enthralled with Trey Lance that they basically jettisoned him and then had to come back with their tail between their legs? I mean,
And then what happened?
Well, but there wasn't a lot of faith. I mean, I don't know.
No, I know. And then he still played really, really well.
Can we back this up, though? Not just about the Rams, but about the Ravens. When we're talking about Super Bowl, whether I think they need to win it or you think they just need to get there. There was some news yesterday out of the Ravens camp with Isaiah Likely, unfortunately suffering an injury. That one stuck with me for a second. It's like, ooh, this could be, first of all, the Ravens need all the offensive help they can get, right? Yes.
Yeah.
As far as receivers are concerned.
But they have 1 million of them now.
I think Likely is a big target for them. I would be very, very concerned about this. Now, it looks like it's not going to be season ending, so that's a really good thing. But maybe I just have Mark Andrews' last playoff game in my mind. But he was like dropping balls everywhere. I don't know how he's going to respond to this. Likely, I felt like is going to take an even bigger step forward. Uh-oh. We know that sound means breaking news. You don't look like you have a smile on your face, EJ.
Well, no, we're talking about Isaiah Likely, and it's ironic you mentioned him because we just got word from Jeremy Fowler, who says that Isaiah Likely suffered a small foot fracture during Tuesday's practice. If all goes well, it's an early season return, and week 1 is possible.
All right.
That's pretty crazy. Well, yeah, that's worse. Yesterday it was 3 or 4 weeks, right? Because they thought it was originally a lower leg injury. Then Harbaugh came out and said it's just his ankle, but I guess his foot.
Yeah, feet I don't like. I don't love that. Also, okay.
But
I know because I have gigantic feet. I know, Manny. Yeah. I do. And I know you say that they have this great, like all these weapons.
Yeah,
yes, Derrick Henry for sure.
Yeah.
They got Zay Flowers.
Yeah, who, if he could keep his head straight on, is great.
And then they have Rashad Bateman,
who they love.
And DeAndre Hopkins is washed up.
Well, and then they have Tez Walker, the kid out of North Carolina, who they're getting good. I mean, that's a lot of receivers, and but they obviously have a Hall of Fame level tight end ahead of Isaiah Likely. That's why I'm saying, like, of all the teams that lose a tight end, like not most people have Mark Andrews. They have this 2-headed tight end monster.
Again, maybe I'm just remembering the last we saw of Mark Andrews was he cost them a trip to the AFC Championship game, probably.
They have Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. Like, how many receivers do you need? And Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, but see, the thing about Henry, who's phenomenal, and we all know when we love Derrick Henry, but there are certain games where he's not effective.
Guy ran for 1,900 yards last year.
Right, but what happened in the playoffs?
Right, he ran all over the Steelers to start with.
Okay, well, that's fine. But then what happened? Like, there are times where when, the Bills got off to a big start in that game, and all of a sudden you couldn't really deploy your secret weapon, your not-so-secret weapon. So, running backs are always dependent a little bit on how the game flow's going.
Right, but he's still, that's got to be one of the most successful running back seasons in the history of the NFL. He had 1,921 yards. I mean, and Lamar Jackson runs too. So
right, but what's the expectation? It's not put up big numbers. The expectation is Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they had the number 1 offense by a mile last year. That is one of the great offenses of all time. I think they can weather this storm. Their issue is they got to stay healthy on defense, right? Like, the offense was immaculate last year. And the other thing, too, is they have a little problem here.
What's that?
That the Buffalo is granted the easiest division in the NFL, and it's going to get home field a lot over them. But they're in a tough division. Then again, they blew it at home a couple years ago, so they can't. They need decent weather. Lamar is not good in cold weather.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that? I think that at some point that becomes a real criticism on Lamar.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he's been playing now. It's not. I know he's from Florida and played college ball at Louisville, but you've been in Baltimore for years now. It's not warm there in the winter. It's freezing in Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean,
you play in a cold weather place, you've got to be a good cold weather quarterback. Like that's not an option. Unless you're Jared Goff, who's not a great cold weather quarterback, so we say, but at least he's indoors. But you got this. It's a non-negotiable.
Kids from Florida, I get it. You get that. Your blood is thin.
Brett Favre was from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. He's an amazing cold weather quarterback.
Hey, I'm not saying it's okay, but listen, Lamar needs to get a warm playoff game. That's just the reality, Maggie.
Coming up, we are asking one big question about the quarterback, and this one is in the state of Florida. We'll get to that next, M&P. I have gigantic feet. I know, Manny. Yeah. I do.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Knows what age. I'm Andrew Bogusch with the news. Top story of the day, and it's not what you'd expect. A WNBA game took quite the turn on the court direct. Fourth quarter action, tension in the air, then a green object flew, causing quiet stare.
It was, let's call it an unlicensed personal item, launched from the upper deck like a heat-seeking missile.
Bogusch with the news, trying not to laugh, reporting on a rubber toy that landed near the staff. He kept it clean, he kept it tight, but Maggie's face turned ghostly white and Perloff grinned from ear to ear.
Did it bounce? He asked, then spilled his beer.
Security swarmed like it was Game 7. The item ejected, sent straight to heaven. Fans on Twitter turned into sleuths, tracking the trajectory with uncomfortable truth.
League officials have confirmed it was not team issued. No players were involved, and no one's claiming ownership. Pause.
And yes, Perloff, it was fully charged. Now every update, Bogusch treads random objects flying overheads. He just wants scores, stats, a clean night. But now it's toys, TikToks, and fluorescent lights. Bogusch with the news, delivering it straight, even when the subject's not exactly great. From buzzer beaters to vibrating scenes, he's the anchor who keeps it clean. But deep inside, he knows it's true. The green toy flew, and so did his view. Security swarmed like it was Game 7. The item ejected, sent straight to heaven. He kept it clean, he kept it tight, but Maggie's face turned ghostly white. Perloff grinned from ear to ear to ear. Did it bounce? To ear. Did it bounce? He asked, spilled his beer. Security swarmed like it was spilled his beer. Security swarmed like it was Game 7. The item ejected, sent straight to heaven. Fans on Twitter turned into sleuths, tracking the trajectory with uncomfortable truth.
45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Every day at this hour, we've been asking one big question about a quarterback room in the NFL. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, glad to have you. Some quarterback rooms more interesting than others, we'll admit it. Today we got a doozy for you, Perloff.
Ooh, let's go.
Yeah, somebody who is just endlessly fascinating, and it leads to such bigger conversations because we can track this all the way back to his college career. EJ, why don't you tell us what's going on? Manny, hit the music.
I feel so lucky to be the quarterback.
It's the position everyone wishes they could play.
Why can't I be quarterback, huh? Sit down and shut up.
But it's not for the faint at heart.
Quarterbacks are premium.
I think those things add up to make it quarterbacking the toughest job in sports.
Maggie and Perloff answer one big question about the quarterback.
All right, it's led to a lot of heated debate. EJ, who is taking center stage today?
Okay, so we're heading to South Beach. We're going to Miami, Tua Tagovailoa, and this one was so interesting. There's a bonus question attached to this one. So, would the Dolphins be better off with a bounce back Tua season or a tank season that would allow them to draft a top quarterback? And a bonus to that is, do you consider Tua Tagovailoa's career a success story?
There's actually a couple Dolphins out there. I might need to get out there.
This is tough. This is very, very tough. Let's take the first things first. Would the Dolphins be better off with a bounce back Tua season, or instead of tanking for Tua, tanking with Tua? I'm going to go with this is over. You're never going to be fully convinced, Pearl, that Tua's going to be able to stay healthy for you. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen with Miami. It may never happen for him in his career. They paid him, which was crazy to us at the time. Even you didn't think that was a good idea, right?
Crazy seems strong. Okay, forget you and me. I don't think the reaction was that. I don't think it was everyone kind of expected them to pay $50 million for Tua.
I would have wait and see on that one big time.
Because of injuries. But I just think, quality of quarterback, I think most people were fine. He's in the top 15 quarterbacks skill-wise.
Okay, but he was coming off of a season where he led the league in passing yards, but really felt like empty calories there because of, how the season ended, where they were in the driver's seat for the division. You always say that the Bills have this, red carpet to win the division. Miami was winning that division until they, bleeped the bed against Buffalo in that season finale. Paid him anyway. Has not been a good playoff quarterback when he's actually been healthy. An 0-1 playoff record. Obviously, Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since 2000, so we know that. But to me, it's time for a reset and a start over. Because here's the other part about Tua. He's also not really shy about telling you what he thinks about the organization and about what's going on. I mean, really blew up Brian Flores after he left. So obviously there were a lot of hard feelings there that did not go well. And now taking the Tyreek Hill as to, earn everybody's trust back. Tyreek Hill, if he's not, who knows what's going to, he's a Hall of Fame level player. His personal stuff may keep him out for a while, but if he's a Hall of Fame level player, I think people were surprised that Tua took that tact. And I think we all know that Mike McDaniel's on the hot seat. I think he'd be better off ripping the Band-Aid and starting over with a quarterback who can stay healthier.
Wait, what was the original question, EJ, about better off to tank or make a playoff?
Or a bounce back
season?
Well, actually, Tua was pretty good last year.
But he only played in 11 games.
Yeah, bounce back in the sense that, remember they made that late playoff push, which kind of made no sense. The thing is, Dolphins fans are going to lose even more. They have no interest now. I think they're going to lose all interest if they go 3-14. That... again, I'm all about the process. I'm a 76ers fan, and you're right. Tanking, big picture, probably makes more sense. But at some point, can you imagine a young Dolphins fan? They're going to completely lose interest in this team if they're terrible. They clearly have enough talent to at least go 9-8. And if Tua is healthy, they'll probably be 10 or 11. So I think if you actually, in reality, in theory, it does sound like, tanking makes sense. But boots on the ground, if you're in Miami, you would much rather have a playoff run this year because you got to stay somewhat relevant. And there's obviously talent there. You can't argue. It's just you don't think Tua is going to be healthy, and you think Tyreek Hill is probably not going to be healthy either because he's too old.
I have one other reason why I do not think that Tua they'd be better off resetting. Maybe if he doesn't have a great season, they get back into the draft and they get another quarterback. It's the AFC. You are going to have to play a cold weather game at some point. And listen, I don't think anyone should have been playing that Kansas City game. That was dangerous, cold weather. People died. I mean, it was a terrible situation. And Tua was awful in that game. Barely completed 50% of his passes. But I don't think anyone should have been playing that day. But he cannot play in cold weather. Or he has not been able to show that he can do that yet because it snowed one time in Buffalo and he was like a kid on Christmas. It looked like he was looking around like, oh, my God.
Got to get a home game.
Oh, well, that's just one. At some point, you're going to have to play in Kansas City, in Buffalo, in Cincinnati, in New England, in Baltimore.
How do you know you can't get home field eventually? I mean, I don't think you're going to.
All the way through home field?
Well, that's the key. I mean, that's how Miami's got to do it probably.
I mean,
by the way, or you could go to Baltimore
happening.
where Lamar Jackson doesn't know what cold weather's like either.
He's won 2 MVPs at least.
Well, again, what's he done when cold playoff games?
I think it's more of an issue. I think it's an issue for Tua. It could end up being an issue for Lamar also, but it's an issue.
Jared Goff and it's a problem actually for most quarterbacks are now come from Florida, Texas, or California. They all have this issue. But honestly, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. But we're at a point where we just need to see a positive season. Like I think it'd be really painful in Miami to watch them because let's face it, if they do go 2-15, that means that there's no Tua, there's no Tyreek Hill. You're watching Zach Wilson throw to I have no idea who, right? Because if Hill is out there, if Hill is out there and healthy, they're not going to win 2 games.
Maybe I think they'd be better off long-term, big picture for the franchise if they moved on from him. Now, EJ's second question, also interesting.
Yeah.
Which is, do you consider Tua's career a success?
That seems obvious to me. I mean, definitely not. I mean, Tua will be known as the quarterback who got bad concussions. Like, what's successful about that?
Well, if you go back to college, he has one of the great moments, maybe a top 10 moment in college football history where he comes in at halftime and wins Alabama a national championship. Goes to another one, had a successful college career, although I don't think he's really remembered for being a great college quarterback. Maybe he should be. And then he had a hip injury that could have been career-ending. People are comparing it to Bo Jackson. And he still ends up being a top 6 pick and, getting a massive contract. So,
well, you're the number 5 pick in the draft, I think, and you don't succeed. I think that is more important. I mean, he's not Tim Tebow where he was a college god. He was really, really good, no doubt about it. But just his college career is not going to carry him. When he retires from the NFL, we all know what the first line is going to be.
Injuries.
Concussions, not just injuries.
Well, that hip, though, was a big deal.
That tightrope? But no,
Yeah.
I mean, the guy who went in defensive pose on national TV, that will be the lasting image of Tua. And the lasting story, too. That being said, I never thought he'd come back at all. And he's come back and been pretty good since the original massive concussion. So, and he looks bigger this year. He keeps on trying to figure out a way, learning jiu-jitsu, trying to figure out a way to get by this. I think again, I'm not saying like he's going to all of a sudden turn around and win a Super Bowl, but I'm a little more bullish. I think I expect the Dolphins to be a little better than you do this year. I think you think that there's a good chance they could tank. The problem is that means that they had to have some injuries because that team is too talented to be a 3-win team.
I don't know, like tanking it implies you're doing it on purpose. I just don't know how good of a team they're going to be, and I do think their coach will be the first one fired. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. You can do kind of like, offensive genius who's like kind of aloof and like has some sillier press conferences and stuff when you're winning. When you're losing, McDaniel looks like he's completely lost, like up at the podium and not coming up with good answers for stuff. And
well, listen, you probably said the same thing about Nick Sirianni.
I did. I was dead wrong about that.
Right.
But he had to win the Super Bowl.
But press conferences really mean 0.0. I mean, Belichick's the worst press conference coach in the history of the league, and he's arguably the best football coach.
But you understand the difference. A Mike McDaniel press conference does not sound anything like Bill Belichick. He just doesn't have good answers for stuff. He sounds like sometimes like it's, and he's, I don't know.
But the whole job thing comes down to how he does on the field.
And that hasn't been good either.
Well, it's been around.
He hasn't won a playoff game.
But what's his record? I mean, listen, here's the thing. It hasn't been good, but it's not, I think he's above 500. So it's been good enough to keep your job. The question is, like, the expectations have raised. They need to make a move on it. Like, even last year, again, remember the Dolphins somehow, I don't even know how, ended up in the playoff picture, and we didn't talk about them once. They were playing for playoffs, I think, in week 17 and 18. So, again, like, they're just limbo. They're medium. I'll bet you 8-9 or 9-8 is more likely.
8-9 last year. All right, so there you go. EJ, want to put the poll question up? Has Tua Tagovailoa had a successful career? If you count college and pro, put it all together, do you consider him successful? Did win a national championship. All-time moment.
Yeah, I mean, that's a weird question, too. You're right. Like, do you talk about college or pro? Do you consider Tim Tebow having a successful career?
I actually do, because he still, like, can't walk around. Like, I think he is still so sought after, and people still draw so much inspiration from him.
Yeah, I agree. But what if J.J. McCarthy is a total bust? Everyone's not going to be like, wow, that guy had a great career because he won at Michigan.
Well, but also, how did Michigan win? Everyone's going to remember that as being a run-first team where he wasn't asked to do a lot. Tua had to come into that Alabama game and start making some huge passes.
No, but again, you can be, I mean, Ryan Leaf had an amazing college career. Nobody says, wow, that was a successful career.
No, unfortunately, Ryan flamed out in a big way.
Yeah, I don't think your college could carry you because if you're a high draft pick, then all of a sudden that's where you're being judged.
Did Reggie Bush have a successful career?
Well, how many Pro Bowls?
He had a hell of a Bills career,
I
right,
don't know
Maggie?
if he had any.
I don't remember one snap.
I mean, he did enough in the NFL. If he, at the number 2 overall pick, had been just a total flame out, it would have been bad. He would be called a bust.
I mean, I feel like Tua's had a more successful pro career than Reggie Bush.
How many years did Bush? I don't know. I felt like he was around a lot.
I mean, Bush played for 11 years. He has 2 1,000-yard seasons. No Pro Bowls.
He played in the NFL for 11 years.
Think about him.
Here.
He was also a combo back. Like they would line him up all over the place. So he was never like the primary guy.
I mean, I'm just trying to total him up here. Actually, I don't have to. Only 4 of these seasons he had at least 1,000 scrimmage yards.
Out of 11 years, Maggie.
Is that surprising to anyone else? He played 11 years in the pros?
Yeah.
No, he was a pretty good player early on in New Orleans, but he didn't share with Deuce, right? It was McAllister, Bush. They had some success.
I don't. That's interesting. I don't consider Reggie Bush a success.
No, it wasn't a success, but it wasn't nobody says Reggie Bush is an all-time draft bust, I don't think. Like Ryan Leaf. I think they should. I'll be honest.
I'll look at it. Pretty high bar because he won the Heisman.
Yeah. Show me a list of draft busts with Reggie Bush on it. I'd be surprised.
I mean, I know it became a random Reggie Bush conversation. I was trying to tie it to Tua, but I don't know. This guy was supposed to be one of the greatest running backs of all time. He wasn't even close to that. Not even, like, he didn't scratch the surface of that.
How many rushing yards did he have in his final season?
-3.
Jamarcus Russell. It's a draft bust.
So it has to be so wildly, incredibly, like, flame out. You could also just not live up to expectations, no?
Right. But if you were to do your top 10 draft busts and you put Reggie Bush on there, people would be like, I don't know about that. I mean, does anyone? I'm just saying, like, you were surprised he played 11 years.
Maybe you're just saying he should be on that list.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I think people would be like, really? But look at his stats.
Do you think people would put Tua as an all-time draft bust? I don't think so.
No, guys, he probably made a Pro Bowl, right?
He's made 1 Pro Bowl.
Yeah, if you make a Pro Bowl, you're not a draft bust anymore. I mean, you might be a disappointment, but draft bust is a high bar.
But to me, like, if Tua's a disappointment, then Reggie Bush is a much bigger disappointment. He was drafted higher, and he was the worst player in the NFL.
Yeah,
I know it's a different position,
but what the question was Tua a disappointment?
Was his career a success?
Yeah, that's a totally different question in a sense.
You think Reggie Bush's career was a success?
No, but we were factoring college. I don't think it was a total disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, Reggie Bush Super Bowl champ.
Yes. I don't know if it's technically.
He was on that team.
He played.
I just don't think people remember.
Where?
New Orleans.
Oh my God.
888-710-4ISN.
I see an All-Pro on here. Was that for returning?
An all-pro for who?
I seen
Reggie
AP.
Bush.
I just seen AP Rookie of the Year. He was 5th in voting.
Yeah, I don't think he actually won one.
I don't see an all-pro unless I'm on his Football Reference page.
Yeah, no, he came in AP Offensive Rookie of the Year, 5th place. Okay, so question there about Tua. Would Miami be better off with a bounce-back season from Tua or a terrible season from Tua, and then they would move on? You're also welcome to weigh in on, do you consider his career to be a successful one? 888-710-4ISN. We take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got our championship has been set in the Maggie and Perloff greatest sports nickname of all time. Who made the final two? I'll tell you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Where are you? And I'm so sorry. I cannot sleep. I cannot
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Sometimes it feels like we can't have good things because of injuries this time of year. First of all, I get it. It's too hot to be out there running around playing football. I'm amazed that everybody's not getting hurt. But the one that really bugged us, I think, Maggie's down in Florida. DJ Lagway walking around in a boot with a lower leg injury. What's the latest and what impact will this have? Because the hype there was huge.
Yeah, so it looks like it's a calf strain, which is a bummer because the calves are tricky. It's almost like hamstrings, but I think the calf in some ways is even a little bit more unpredictable. No timetable, according to Billy Napier, on when he's going to return. Also a little bit, I would say alarming, but suspect. It's not time for full panic, but it's just the latest injury for DJ Lagway, who is the obviously very highly touted sophomore, missed the spring with a shoulder injury, underwent surgery for sports hernia. He's kind of had these other things where he has had to overcome early in his career. Now he's in a boot with a calf strain. Like, yikes.
He's a funny one, too, because I don't think people understand how big he is. He's listed at 241. He's listed at 6'2", 241. And honestly, I think he might be even bigger than 241. You would think that body would hold up well. I'm not sure. So that's like Dante Culpepper size, who also got hurt. But I guess it's not. That doesn't help at all. I would think if there's any sturdy quarterback in college football, it would be DJ Lagway. But he was hurt a bunch of times. Last year he got hurt.
Well, the shoulder might eventually.
Spring he was out for
The shoulder may eventually need surgery. Like they're not ruling that out. So he's kind of letting it ride a little bit with a shoulder that's not 100%. But now this is a new thing.
Well, he missed last year with a hamstring. That was so. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. This is not good because I think I've said this before. He would be the number one pick. I think he could even be the number one pick over Arch next year. If you look at it, highlight first of all, he can run like crazy, but the ball comes out like a pro quarterback already. He's 19.
He went 6-1 in games that he started as a freshman in 2024. Yeah, this is a bummer. And also the way that, Florida, their schedule sets up, this is tough schedule. We said this always.
The worst, right? The hardest schedule,
the
hardest schedule in the country, aren't they? 2 years in a row.
I thought technically, as far as SEC teams are concerned, I thought actually Vanderbilt had the hardest schedule. But
okay, I'd heard somewhere that Florida keeps getting. I guess when you do that discussion, you probably don't even count Vanderbilt usually.
So you start off at Long Island University.
Listen,
the fact they have a football team.
The Sharks.
Is
I was about to say, does anyone know their nickname?
Is not telling us about something.
What's the spread for that game?
LIU Sharks.
A gajillion. And then South Florida, and then you're at LSU, at Miami, and then you play Texas, at Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Georgia, of course, at Kentucky, at Ole Miss, Tennessee, and of course end the season with Florida State.
Yikes.
Not an easy schedule.
No, that's not good.
That LIU game, though. Let me see if I get a spread on it.
I don't really count. I don't even care about Florida as a team. Easy for me to say. I'm not a Gator fan. I feel like this is more about Lagway. This season to me is not about winning a title. It's about being respectable under Billy Napier. The other thing too is everyone knows, right? If Napier goes, Lagway goes, right? So they kept Napier around because Lagway loves him. So if this season goes bad, then does he transfer? That's the other issue.
Well, if it's his own injuries, though, and he feels like the university is treating him right and the medical staff is good and all of that, then he can't blame it on the university.
But if they're bad and he's hurt, they're going to fire Napier. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he probably should have been fired last year.
Or does this give Napier kind of a reprieve? Like, if Lagway's out for a lot of the season, what's he supposed to do?
I feel like he already got his reprieve. Based on, I mean, I'm not inside, but all the headlines are like Billy Napier is desperate. Like, if he does not at least be top 20 this year, then he's gone. So I think that's the other issue here. Like, they could lose Lagway. Florida, he could easily go in the transfer portal, try and redo his NIL deal. So there's a lot at stake here for Lagway. It doesn't feel weird, too, by the way. I know the Florida Gators just won in basketball. Like, Florida doesn't feel like the kind of team that can win a national title. Right. Like in my head, I'm thinking like, who are the contenders? It's always Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, maybe Texas now. Like Florida used to be the powerhouse, like the powerhouse.
I know.
And now I feel like, wow, wouldn't that be those pesky little Gators made a run? Like in your head, do you think Florida Gators could win the title this year?
I don't see them as the pesky underdog, if that's what you're asking me. It's still Florida, a rich football history, and they have one of the top quarterbacks in the entire sport. Even if he's hurt, I can't look at you as like, David here going up against the Goliaths. I know they haven't had the type of success that maybe we were used to under Urban Meyer, but still, they're not, little sisters of the poor, Florida. So no.
They haven't had a double-digit winning season since 2019. They've been 8-4, 6-7, 6-7, 5-7, 8-5. It's pretty little sisters of the poor on paper.
So that 3-game stretch, LSU, Miami, and then bye week, and then Texas. That will probably determine the season. So hopefully Lagway is healthy for that. 888-710-4ISN. Andrew Bogusch has the latest. You're not going to do the sex toy thing every hour?
Fair question, Maggie. You asked, and I am to please. So here we go. Here's Golden State's
that toy.
Tiffany Hayes asked about, a neon green adult toy being thrown on the court during last night's Valkyries Dream game in Atlanta.
Do you know what it was? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, one of our players almost got hit with it, so that's very dangerous. Yeah. We persevered.
They persevered.
Yeah, everyone's having a lot of fun with this, which I think is the right tact. It still is a little... It's definitely a different vibe to do this at a women's sporting event than at a Bills game.
It is a different vibe, but I feel like it is almost safe to assume that it's just the normal, let me throw this on the court / field. Like, because this happens...
It didn't feel misogynistic, you're saying?
Because it happens at almost every Bills game. It's happened at many other places where men are playing. Like, the bit is to throw this on the court.
Right.
It's not a message. It's just like, this is going to be funny when it's on TV and somebody has to pick it up. I hope that's all this was.
I think so. Wait, does everyone do this at every Bills game? No, just the ones with Tom Brady.
But it's happened, right? Like that, and the point is we're just throwing this on the field or the court.
You know how like when streakers happen, they don't put them on TV anymore.
That hasn't worked well.
Right, people are still streaking, but they don't put them on TV, Pearl, because they don't want copycats, right? They don't want to encourage people to do this. Do we have to get to a point where you're not showing this on television because you want to discourage people? Because I didn't see this one, but from the Bills games, like it's definitely on TV.
That would be an awkward meeting between the networks and
the guys. Safe to say, this sex toy thing has really penetrated the sport.
Yeah, and then it's funny when they're not showing the streaker. Yeah, that's a good one. When they're not showing the streaker, the people in the broadcast booth have an awkward conversation around this, like trying to pretend like meanwhile you see the crowd going nuts about something. They're like, well, that was a really good block on that play. We all know, like, everyone wants to see the streaker. Can we admit that? I'm not above admitting, like, I want to see the streaker.
And no one has stopped streaking.
Yeah.
There's been no notable decline in streaking because we're not mentioning or showing it on TV.
I feel like when I was a kid around the Morgana, the Kissing Bandit stage, like everybody was coming onto the field all the time.
Oh,
naked?
No, but they would come onto the field.
Like Hank Aaron's, record-breaking home run. It's Craig Sager, like young Craig Sager and somebody else.
Craig Sager was
No. There were two fans who were running with Hank Aaron. Craig Sager was waiting at the end to interview him.
Oh, I thought Craig was one of the guys.
No, that was, as far as I know, that was not Craig. Craig had to interview him.
People used to run onto the field all the time. It has been better, but as far as the streakers, there was a guy.
That was the most exciting thing to happen tonight.
There was a guy who at the Olympics, didn't he put the rubber chicken to cover himself up?
Is brought to you by the new crispy tenders at CarMax.
You guys can Google that one.
No.
Wait, but by the way, I'm sorry. Even if you keep your clothes on, they try not to show you, right?
Yeah. No. But and they also throw you in jail now.
Yeah.
Like, I think they punish you more severely. That would be my guess for the real deterrence, not like, oh, they didn't show me on TV.
I think a game changer was when Monica Seles got stabbed.
Oh, well,
then people started to get really sensitive around getting onto the field. But yeah, as a kid, as I recall, everyone you said was free flowing, just ran out onto the field.
I mean, I remember when one of the most famous Yankee images that I remember growing up was Reggie Jackson trucking a couple of people running off the field in the World Series
After they won. Yeah, people used to just flood. Okay, so
crazy.
yes, Pinerolo,
Looked like Derrick Henry.
Italy. There was a streaker during the men's curling bronze medal match Friday at the Winter Olympics. A man wearing what appeared to be a strategically placed rubber chicken ran onto one of the covered sheets of ice not being used in the arena. He danced around for a bit, but never tried to approach any of the players.
Bogusch.
A couple security officials in the venue hovered near the streaker for several seconds before finally covering him and leading him away.
That's an awkward few moments.
Curling, though?
Yeah.
One of my favorite things is when a streaker goes out there and he just gets they just get absolutely destroyed by a security guard or even a player sometimes.
I know.
Especially those football players, they'll just lay a forearm and the person just collapses to the floor. I'm like, that's what your ass get for getting on the field.
That's kind of what I think is most closely to like the Roman Colosseum days.
Sure,
yeah,
People
sure.
are just like, oh, that guy just got killed. Like, yeah.
They
He's got no pads on, though.
They should bring back Pros versus Joes.
That was a good show.
Like, bring that back, because everyone talks about these athletes all crazy, and they want to get on the field and thinking nothing's going to happen to them. Let them go and have to block Michael Parsons a couple times to see what happens.
A little Spike TV action.
Was Tiki ever on that show?
That's a good question.
I got to look. I'll look
No,
up.
Tiki was on
Something else.
like a version of American Ninja Warrior. It was like
Got
it had Beast in the title. My kids loved it, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, Ultimate Beast Master.
Yes, Tiki was on that.
I'm on the Wikipedia page for Pros versus Joes. Goldberg, according to Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Matt Williams, Wild Thing. Dennis Rodman, Jim McMahon, Jerry Rice.
Whatever happened to that Dennis Rodman?
I remember the Dennis Rodman episode. I watched that one. That one was good. It was just trying to get rebound on Dennis Rodman.
Sorry, I said Matt Williams. Mitch Williams was Wild Thing. Excuse me. Muggsy Bogues, Jenny Finch, Bo Jackson. Bill Romanowski was on this.
Bo Jackson. I thought he couldn't run anymore.
I don't know. Dave Stewart. Xavier McDaniel.
Whoa.
Be careful.
Whoa.
What?
That wasn't a basketball matchup. That was just a fight. It was like, can you fight Xavier McDaniel?
Apparently, Herschel Walker was on here.
Yeah, I think Herschel just did. There's another one where they drop you with Navy SEALs. I think he was in that recently.
Oh,
that was
right?
a new show. Yeah. There was like I want to say one of the Bella twins might have been on that too. That one looks gnarly.
I don't know if Herschel was on that, but he does a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's a Fox show where like these, and there's a couple of Disney
Carly
stars on
Lloyd
there.
did it, the soccer player.
Yeah, and I'm like, you couldn't pay me anything in the world to do that. That looks brutal.
Oh, they drop out of a helicopter.
I think T.O. was in the show. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, I'm good.
These people are competitive. All right, Bogues, back to you.
I don't think I mentioned the Valkyries won this game after the incident, 77-75. Just basketball during the Aces' 89-74 win over the Sparks. Asia Wilson scored 34, while Jackie Young had a triple-double, 18 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists. And the Mystics sent the Sky to their sixth loss in a row, 103-86. Chicago losing again, despite Angel Reese returning from a two-game absence with a back issue. She had 22 points and 13 boards. This has happened before, but it's always cool. Veteran reliever Sir Anthony Dominguez was traded from the Orioles to the Blue Jays between games of their doubleheader yesterday in Baltimore.
It's really kind of crazy because I wake up today and come to play for the Orioles, and after the first game I was sitting there hanging out with the guys, and they called me, they told me, hey, we got you traded, we go to the next dugout.
So he gets traded. There's video of him walking from clubhouse to clubhouse, and then he makes his Toronto debut against the guys who were just his teammates in the nightcap.
I just try to don't think, like I said before, I don't think about, just try to go out and do my best.
He struck out 2 in his one inning, but the Jays lost the game 3-2 after losing 16-4 in the afternoon.
Yikes.
So Toronto's now dropped 4 straight overall. Their AL East lead on the Yankees is down to 4 games because the Bombers beat the Rays last night 7-5.
He sounded kind of like down about this. He should be happy. He just gained 12.5 games in the standings in one afternoon.
He just went from last to first in the AL East.
You should be happier. I mean, I'm sure it's a shock, but...
Yeah, you got to move your family probably. Or maybe he won't move his family. Maybe he's just moving himself. But it's other stuff that goes into getting traded.
I don't know. Baltimore to Toronto, it's not like you're you're in literally a different country. But I'm thinking more
left to right.
Country, like horizontal.
Yeah, changing time zones.
Yeah.
You actually... that's funny. Baltimore's right. It's not like you're crossing the country.
You know what I meant, like an East Coast to West Coast.
That's a pretty big deal. You're going to a new country. I think Toronto is a big move for pro athletes. You hear them talk about that. Like, it's not that simple.
I love Toronto.
I love Toronto too, but I mean, it's a lot different, especially if you're not from anywhere near there, to go to Toronto.
But you've been playing in the AL East. Like, you've been there so many times now.
Yeah, it's annoying to live in Toronto, I'm sure. Right? Like,
just having to go through customs and stuff all the time. But
this couldn't have come to a shock to him. I mean, the Orioles are in last place.
Yeah,
he's a decent reliever. I'm pretty sure they had let him know 2 days earlier, hey, we're going to be selling, so, get ready to pack up your stuff.
I bet he had no idea, but even still, you're a professional athlete. You know at any time it can come for you.
I think the prospects probably are blindsided more than the guys who are on the MLB roster.
Maybe. Bogusch, what else?
The Padres dropped the Mets last night 7-1. San Diego scoring 5 in the 7th, highlighted by a Manny Machado 3-run homer. Andrew Vaughn, a grand slam, 6 RBI total, and the Brewers' 9-3 win over the Cubs. Milwaukee now leads Chicago by 2 games atop the NL Central. And the Braves beat the Royals 9-6, but Ronald Acuna Jr. headed to the IL with right Achilles tightness. He missed most of last season with a torn ACL. Trey Hendrickson reportedly ending his holdout this morning, but without an extension with the Bengals. Maybe this is a sign they're getting close. The amount of guaranteed money is apparently their holdout. Or hold up, I should say. And a fresh report this morning says Ravens tight end Isaiah Lively suffered a small foot fracture during practice yesterday. The team initially called it a rolled ankle. Either way, it's possible he's back in time for week 1. Guys, back to you.
That's good. That's annoying, by the way, because whatever you're doing, trying to bet the Ravens, you don't know if it's going to be an Andrews game or a likely game. You never, ever know. So
that's true.
Now he's going to be like kind of half playing. I don't know what this is going to mean for my over-unders.
We have a little time to decide on that. Can I just, I'm now deep into the Pros versus Joes Wikipedia page.
Go
so this
ahead.
lasted for a few seasons, according to Wikipedia, which is not always right. This at one point was a team of 3 different athletes just paired together on this Pros versus Joes.
Oh, I can't wait.
Ricky Williams, the late Arturo Gatti, and Charles Oakley.
Can I ask a question that I know, EJ? Why is Charles Oakley on my TV 24 hours a day right now?
He's a chef. Is he doing cooking things?
Is he a real housewife?
Yes. Oh, no, his wife is on Housewives.
Oh, my
really?
God. He is everywhere right now. And he's like done a lot of press for that,
yes,
too.
And according to Andrea and her friend who watches Housewives, he is also a lunatic on that show as well. So.
Well, I mean, you could take Charles Oakley, like, we can put him on TV. He's still going to be the same guy.
Wait, I just learned Charles Oakley is a chef?
Yeah,
he's a chef, and he's a really good one, apparently. Like a legit chef.
Our friend John Wertheim did a whole story about him for
God,
Sports
we need a reality show on this guy. We are the New York Knicks.
He's on the Real Housewives?
Yeah, his wife is on the Real Housewives.
Which one? Atlanta,
I think
Maryland?
It's Atlanta. I think it's Atlanta.
They're like, which wife?
It's Atlanta. I mean, I got to be honest. I watched the whole thing. It's
you
Atlanta.
did? Okay.
Yeah. No, Oakley's amazing.
Is he unhinged?
He will confront any woman on that panel in 2 seconds. I just like, he's
like at the reunion?
but he's really loose. Like he's like, he'll just dive right in there. I thought he used to be kind of quiet. What was I? He used to be. Now he's very outspoken. He reminds me of wait, am I crazy? Back as a player, like you couldn't get him to say that many words. Now he will not shut up.
Yeah, he didn't say much. He did a lot. It was like he'll fight Barkley in a bar and he'll fight a guy on the court. But like he wasn't really a talker, I don't think.
Right. He was on the team with Larry Johnson, who absolutely would not shut up.
Yeah.
But now Oakley's like George Foreman. He is getting really out there. Anyway.
I mean, he's a funny personality. Like he's definitely maybe not everybody's cup of tea, but he has a lot to say.
Got a lot in common with you too, Maggie.
Yeah, no, me and Charles.
Gigantic feet.
Well, that's the icebreaker conversation starter. We're also both have a dicey relationship with Knicks owner James Dolan. This is what apparently he said at the. I'll stand with Charles on this one. Judge me by my enemies. Everyone wants to know about me, but what about y'all? He asked the group. I'm the only husband here. Where your husband's at? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn.
Oh, man.
Fair question.
You step to a bunch of middle-aged women? Careful.
Oak does not care.
Once a Nick, always a Nick, baby. Woo!
If that doesn't work, you can go to the show that I was watching this weekend. That's Carlos Boozer, Tyson Beckford, and another dude in a house with 21 women going after them.
Titus O'Neil from WWE.
I don't know who that guy is.
Yeah,
he's a
so
big
nice.
dude, though.
Yeah. And
Carlos Boozer. What a catch.
Yeah, well, he used to play Titus O'Neil used to play in Florida as a football player, too.
You think that Carlos Boozer is a bigger catch than Tyson Beckford? He's a famous male model.
Well, how old is Beckford now?
He's not old enough to not be a
Carlos
catch.
Boozer's a catch.
I'm
because
interested.
he is the nicest, coolest guy ever. He's Alaskan, right? Like he is so chill. Isn't his kid like the number one recruit now?
Twins.
Two of them? Yeah. I feel
Caden
Carlos
and Cameron.
Boozer is awesome. Is he divorced? I imagine.
Wait,
Lucky in
I'm
love.
sorry. The premise of the show is they're all in a house?
It's called, I think, King's Court, and the three of them are in a house, and they just keep. It started with, I think, 7 women, and they brought in 7 more, and there's another batch coming, and then it becomes like, okay, I'm going to date you, we're going to go on a date, we're going to hang out.
But they all live at the home
They're
together?
all living together.
Wow, being a dude rocks.
Yeah, I want to check this out. I keep seeing the commercials, and I'm like, I got to find a way to
Yeah, I'm
get
sure it was
Andre
so
to
hard
watch
for
this.
Tyson Beckford to land a date.
That's
in
the
real
question.
life.
Why does Tyson Beckford need the help of Bravo to find a lady?
It's on Bravo?
I think, yeah.
Well, no, I think it's like a bachelor model. Like, it's not that you need to help, but like you have a really good-looking bachelor. Like he obviously can get a date.
Can he?
But it's true love, folks.
Oh, that's what it is. Right.
Yeah, it's not
Does it
just,
end with a
Yeah,
proposal?
so they can all get a date. That's not what we're doing here. We're finding true love.
Yeah.
Also for our entertainment, Bogusch. Come on.
How's Carlos Boozer's hair looking in that?
He has none. Beard's on point, though.
He hasn't had hair in years.
The beard is
I
crazy.
don't even think he had hair at Duke.
Well, I mean, don't you remember the spray tan look that he had, or the sprayed hair that he had?
Yeah, the Beijing.
Boozer did that?
Oh,
Yes.
baby.
When was that?
It basically was
Well, he was
Rudy
with the Bulls.
Giuliani, like it was. That was dripping down the side of his.
Oh, him telling the story of that is one of my favorite
Face.
podcast stories ever.
I'm looking at Boozer now, yeah. I would rather date Carlos Boozer just to hear the Coach K stories. Like, what is Tyson Beckford going to tell you about?
You would rather date Carlos
I just think
Boozer?
he's a more interesting prospect.
To ask him about Coach K stories.
Yeah, I mean,
what a
listen.
romantic night.
Also, if you've heard one Coach K story, haven't you heard them all?
I don't know. He was there from 99 to 2002. That was prime Duke years. There's a lot going on.
What
What are you
start a
talking to
fire.
Tyson
Tell
Beckford
me about
about?
Coach K, please.
We messed up in practice, and then he cursed at us for 7 minutes straight.
Yeah.
Until his face turned purple.
Greg Paulus.
Yeah, I think
Say
What
it
was he
slowly.
like behind the scene?
Greg. Well, I mean, you go to Greg Paulus. He played with a bunch of superstars.
What was Mike Dunleavy like?
Wait,
Anyway,
you guys want to talk to Tyson Beckford? What do you got to talk to him about?
who's talking?
How do you get 8-pack abs?
What?
Tell me how do you get 8-pack abs? Give me your ab workout immediately.
Carlos Boozer is a superior physical human being. Trust me, he's better looking than anyone we know, too.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, in real life, oh my God.
Yeah,
you
in
kidding
regular
me?
life, sure, but not in a house with Tyson Beckford. He is a distant second. I'll say that very confidently.
I'm not into Tyson Beckford. Got a pretty boy.
Not into fine wine.
By the way, Carlos Boozer, this color of black does not exist. What are you putting in your beard, bro?
Neither does the density.
No, at that too. What is going on?
Also, where his kids going? Duke?
Dude, yeah.
Oh, man.
Now, right?
Yeah, the freshman.
Flag leaves. Boozer twins come in.
Mm-hmm.
The shelf just gets restocked.
Brotherhood, baby.
888-710-4ISN. That's where we got to leave it. Bogusch, thank you so much. Coming up, we do have an answer to the question, who will be the NFL and college football's worst team this year? Do that next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Maggie's got some giant feet, they're the talk of the town. When she walks the sidewalk cracks, she's bringing buildings down. She tried to buy some shoes, but they said no way. Now she's wearing boat sails just to get through the day. Maggie's giant feet, they're a real big deal. Stepping on poles, creating legs for real. Maggie's giant feet, they make a mighty thud. But Maggie just laughs, hey, it's all in good fun. She went to a dance folks yelled for more. At the beach, she's a hit, making giant sand castles. Her footprint's so big, they're like dinosaur battles. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. Her feet made the music, folks yelled for more. At the beach, she's a hit, making giant sand castles. Her footprint's so big, they're like dinosaur battles. Maggie's giant feet, they're a real big deal. Stepping on bubbles, creating legs for real. Maggie's giant feet, they make the mighty thud. But Maggie just laughs, hey, it's all in good fun.
On a sunny afternoon, grabbed a bat and took the field under the summer moon. He said, Jack, let's show 'em how the Bogusch boys can play. But little did they know he had whiskey in his sway.
Oh, Andrew Bogusch swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat.
Jack's team was laughing as Dad took his stance, wobbling at the plate in a tipsy baseball dance. The coach was shaking his head, moms were all aghast, but Andrew Bogusch grinned, living in the past.
Oh, Andrew Bogusch swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat. He hit a grounder to the shortstop, tried to make it to first, but he tripped over his own feet. Oh man, it was the worst. Jack was...
One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. Picking Super Bowl winners, picking college football playoff finalists, Pearl. That's easy. Well, yeah, that's fun. But it's also fun to think about who's going to be dead last.
Oh, okay.
Today we are doing the NFL and college football superlatives. Who will be the worst team in both the NFL and college? Now, college, we feel a little bad about this. You know, we're not trying to like call out any kids or anything like that. But we're just going to do the Power Four conferences, and who do we think is going to be who's going to be dead last. So do you want to do NFL first?
Yeah, let's do NFL first. This is kind of based on a caller yesterday who we didn't get to, who wanted to ask, do you think the Saints are going to be the worst team in the NFL? And My answer is, yeah, I do. I saw Spencer Rattler put on 20 pounds of muscle. It looks amazing in camp. Because Spencer Rattler always looks good in shorts. I don't see any scenario where this team is good because they have some players that are like Alvin Kamara and Cameron Jordan who are great, but they're older and they've been getting hurt a lot lately. So I feel like the injuries are going to start to pile up and then it's just going to really focus on next year's draft. Tyler Shuck, second-round pick. Usually second-round picks don't work out. We'll see if he even wins a job. I just don't see the scenario where the Saints get it all going in the right direction this year.
So I think the Saints also could be the worst team in the NFL. I think odds will tell you they are, but they are playing in a division where there are some winnable games, right? So if I were to pick who I think could be the worst team in the NFL, I got to go with the Browns. You know, unfortunately, they've been hit a little bit by the injury bug. The quarterback situation is completely up in the air, and their schedule is brutal. Can I tell you what the Browns' schedule is? They open the season against Cincinnati, then at Baltimore, Green Bay, at Detroit, Minnesota, that's in Europe, at Pittsburgh, Miami, at New England, at the Jets, Baltimore, at Vegas, San Francisco, Tennessee, Chicago, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, at Cincinnati to end the season.
Yep.
I mean, okay, you want to say maybe like against the Dolphins?
They play all those AFC North teams tough randomly.
Are you sure that you're winning at New England? Are you sure you're winning at the Jets? Like I'm not necessarily sure who's favored in those games. So I think
but if you're not winning there, where are you going to win?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think the Browns have the possibility of being the worst team in the NFL, and then they'll set up to have the number one pick, and we'll see who decides to declare out of college whether Arch Manning does or not.
The only thing about the Browns is that there's so much hot seat energy going on, and they paid Myles Garrett all this money that I think they're a little more motivated to win than, say, New Orleans. Like, what's New Orleans winning for?
New coach, new blood.
Yeah, I just feel like Stefanski's got to be desperate. Like, you see it how it's working out in training camp. Like, he won't let the rookies get a snap. I mean, Dylan Gabriel's getting a couple, but basically he's like, I think there's going to be push and pull with probably ownership and the coaching staff. The ownership's like, give me the rookie. This is going to happen. And Stefanski's like, I'm coaching for my job. I'm sending out Joe Flacco. So I wonder if they can pull out some wins out of that formula.
I don't know. I'm sure he was probably desperate for wins last year, too, and they ended up with, 3 wins for whatever. So they've had 3 guys already arrested on domestic violence stuff. They've got this weird Deshaun thing. I don't think anything's going to go right here for Cleveland. I'm fading them big time. I think they could be the worst team in the NFL. Okay, not to again, we're not trying to denigrate college kids. We understand that they're younger, they're kids, but I have a pick for who I think
can you
could
start
be.
this out? Because I'm still finalizing my choice here.
Well, I think it could be Mississippi State, and that's not going to be like a hot take. They were winless in the SEC last year, and their schedule this upcoming season is really, really hard. By strength of schedule, they have the second hardest strength of schedule of any team in the SEC. Vanderbilt is number 1 and Mississippi State is number 2. So you don't even get like a little bit of a reprieve, by having this really, tough season for Coach Jeff Lebby. And I think they could be the worst Power 4 team.
So I have a question. How can they be as bad as last year? Like, this is like a major-ish program. Like, what's going on there?
Well, they're just bad. I mean, they face 4 college football playoff teams from a year ago. That's the highest total in the country. They have to travel to Florida, Texas A&M. They also play Mizzou. I mean, maybe the roster is a little bit more talented than last year, but also the schedule is so much tougher.
Yeah, but okay. I just it feels weird that they would be this bad for a sustained period of success. So I always think of who are the bad teams. And I'm sorry, I admit I did not really do my homework on this one, but I always go to the bottom of the ACC. I always feel like if you need, look at the bad teams in the ACC are always really bad at football. Like Wake Forest, I feel like Cal and Stanford, one of them is going to be bad this year. Don't you feel like the ACC is so top heavy that the bottom teams there would get killed in the SEC? Like Mississippi State, if you put them in the ACC, would they be worse than Stanford was last year, or Wake Forest, or usually Virginia is that good. I feel like Mississippi State would be fine in the ACC.
Can I ask a trivia question as we go to break?
Yeah.
Does anyone remember who the head coach of Stanford football is right now?
David Shaw.
Andrew Luck.
The head coach.
I know. I'm kidding.
Oh.
I don't know.
3, 2, 1. It's Frank Reich, everybody.
Get out of here.
It is.
Oh.
Handpicked by their general manager, Andrew Luck. All right, coming up next, baseball trade deadlines tomorrow.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Get back to football in just a moment, but the MLB trade deadline is tomorrow, Pro. We've already seen a little bit of movement here, and to get the latest and greatest, let's welcome in our pal Mark Feinsand, MLB.com senior national reporter and MLB Network insider. Mark, thanks so much for the time today. How you been?
I'm good, guys. How are you? Long time no speak.
I know. We're doing great. You know, before we get to the trade deadline stuff, just a moment to touch on Ryne Sandberg, who passed away, the Cubs legend, the Hall of Famer. And I'm curious, when something like this happens, a guy who we're so familiar with his career, but when he passes away, were there any other like stories or, you know, something you learned about Ryne Sandberg that you had never known before that, you know, maybe our audience might be interested in after people were sharing all of their condolences yesterday?
So most of my experience with Ryne Sandberg was as a fan growing up in the 80s, one of the great players, obviously, of his generation. The thing I found most fascinating in hearing all of these tributes to him over the past few days was White Sox fans talking about him being the pride of Chicago during that time. You know, the Cubs and White Sox and their fans have no love for each other, but it seemed like Sandberg was one of the few guys on the Cubs side that, you know, generated that much respect from the other side, that even White Sox fans were saying this is such a huge loss for Chicago. And I think that told you about how he sort of transcended things outside of the walls of Wrigley Field.
You know, he's famous in Philadelphia too, Mark. He's the one the Phillies got let get away. Every team has that, right? The one trade where they always look back and say, oh, man, for the Phillies, there probably is that'd be a great photo gallery of guys who got away. All right, trade deadline, Mark. And so before we get into players, what's the team out there that you expect to be most aggressive before Thursday night, 6 p.m. Eastern?
Well, I think you look at the teams that are contenders but feel like they have a hole or two they need to fill between now and Thursday night. The Phillies are certainly one of those teams. Even with the signing of David Robertson, I think they know they need more bullpen help if they're going to you know, be a serious threat in the National League. It's such a top-heavy league with the Dodgers, with the Mets, the Brewers, the Cubs, and the Phillies that, you know, those five teams really are going to examine themselves very carefully. The Brewers are not a team that gets super aggressive. They hold on to their prospects. They have payroll constraints. So I don't know that they're going to be as aggressive, but I would expect the Cubs, the Dodgers, the Phillies, and the Mets to all be very aggressive in going out and getting what they need.
We're talking with Mark Feinsand of MLB Network, MLB.com. You know, the Emmanuel Clase news. He gets put on paid leave Monday. He's being investigated in a gambling probe. Also, his teammate Luis Ortiz. But let's stay on Clase for a second because he's one of the best closers in the game. How does that investigation now and this whole drama, how does that change what the Guardians may do, their outlook on this trade deadline? I mean, just how big was that news, not just for him, and we can talk about gambling and sports, but for him and for the trade deadline?
Yeah, it was pretty big. I mean, I'm not sold that they were going to trade him anyway because he is controllable. As you said, he is one of the best closers in the game, and the Guardians are not a team that usually just throws caution to the wind and goes for something. That said, he was out there, and he was a guy that teams were talking to. And once he went off the board, and essentially this paid leave through the end of August takes him out of the trade mix, you know, that boosted up the value of some of the other closers, especially the controllable ones. Duran in Minnesota, Griffin Jackson, another reliever in Minnesota, David Bednar in Pittsburgh. You know, Mason Miller in with the A's, if you want to consider him a trade candidate. I think it's going to take, you know, just a monster deal that very few teams are going to be willing to offer to actually pry him away right now with the 4+ years of control that he has left. But I think it definitely will impact the market because it took a big name off of it. Ryan Helsley, a rental reliever from the Cardinals who won the Trevor Hoffman Reliever of the Year in the National League last year, his price tag went up because, again, once you take a big option off the market and you have one of those top closers, you're going to ask for a little more. So I don't know that Clase was getting traded, but this story certainly has impacted the reliever market. And as we see every year, relief pitchers will account for 60 to 75% of the trade that we see between now and Thursday evening. Because, if you have, look at Eugenio Suarez, right? Great player, great power. A lot of teams want him, but there's only 4 or 5 teams that need a third baseman. So the market is limited. All 30 teams out there, or at least all the ones that are trying to contend and buy, every one of those teams could use a reliever. So, no matter how good your bullpen is, it can always be better. And so that's why the relief market is going to really be a big thing over the next, 36 hours or whatever the number is that I've been trying to count down in my head.
All right, Mark, you mentioned Suarez got hit by a pitch earlier this week, the Diamondbacks' third baseman. What are you hearing about how that market has developed? Is there any fear out there about the finger, which they reported is not broken? But do you think that affected anything as teams line up to try and get him?
I think for that hour and a half in between him getting hit and leaving the game and having the x-rays, and then yesterday he had an MRI or CAT scan that showed there was no damage. I don't think the hit by pitch is going to impact anything. Right now, the asking price for him is sky high. And right now, let me just clarify, the asking price for almost everything right now is sky high. Deadlines create urgency. And so that's why tomorrow, as we get into the final hours leading up to the deadline, those prices will start to come down a little bit because teams will realize, well, if we don't lower them, we're not going to trade these guys. And, in the Diamondbacks case, then you're probably going to end up just losing Suarez for nothing, to free agency. So I think he is still a hot commodity. There are not a lot of big power bats on this market. And the Diamondbacks are asking for the moon and the stars. At some point, they'll probably just settle for the moon. But I think right now, those prices are still pretty high. But you look at some of the contenders that need third baseman, the Mariners, the Tigers, the Cubs. The Phillies have looked at him as like a DH type, maybe move Schwarber out to left field. There are some big teams in the mix for Suarez. The Yankees took themselves out of it with their trade for Ryan McMahon, but all the rest of those teams that were in on him remain in on him.
Mark Feinsand with us for a few more minutes here, MLB.com senior national reporter and MLB Network insider. Mark, which MLB front office is under the most pressure to make a move by Thursday's deadline?
Well, 2 days ago, I would have said the Cubs because Jed Hoyer was in the final year of his deal, but he just signed an extension, so that urgency is probably gone. I might have said the Yankees, not that Brian Cashman was in trouble, but just because there was urgency for them to fortify that roster to get back to the World Series. Now Aaron Judge is hurt. We don't know what's going to happen with that, so that might be a little bit of a hiccup for them. I'd probably say the Mets. The Mets are a team that spent $750 million on Juan Soto this offseason. They're in first place right now, but they've got the Phillies hot on their heels. They've been jockeying up top with them all year. They need to add some pitching, probably one starter, a reliever or two, center fielder. So there are some holes there for them to fill. And with the expectations that come with a roster like they have and a payroll like they have, they need to stay aggressive. And that's not always David Stern's MO, but I think it has to be here in the next day and a half.
Mark, just want to follow up on Aaron Judge for a minute. You mentioned he's going to just the 10-day IL right now. But, the Yankees' history of handling injuries with some of these guys, especially Judge, remember how long it took them to diagnose his thoracic outlet, where he had the broken collarbone. No one could figure out what it was. How dicey is this situation right now for Judge and the Yankees?
I'm not sure it's dicey, Maggie. I think when you're talking about Aaron Judge, who's arguably the best hitter in the game, if not the best player in the game, it's hard to put anybody over Ohtani when he's pitching. But certainly one of the most dangerous hitters we've seen in a generation. Considering how much money the Yankees have invested in Aaron Judge at $40 million a year for the next 6 years, I think, after this year, they're not going to mess around with this. If they think he's going to re-injure himself or he's in any danger, they're going to take their time. Remember, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, before his free agency, or maybe the first year after his free agency, he slammed into the wall at Dodger Stadium and had a toe injury, and that kept him out for 2 months. So they're not going to rush him back. That said, if they think he can hit without doing any damage, and we've seen guys come back from Tommy John surgery very quickly and DH. I mean, Ohtani did that, and everybody thought he was crazy. Why wouldn't you let him just sit out the whole year? And then he won the MVP. So if Judge can hit and he says he's fine and he's cleared by doctors, he will DH for them. That's going to cause a bit of a logjam for them because if he's DHing, Giancarlo Stanton probably isn't playing. There's been talk about putting him back in the outfield while Judge is limited to DH duties. But every time they put him in the outfield, he gets hurt. So that's a little bit of a dangerous situation. Wouldn't be surprised if we see the Yankees acquire a right-handed hitting out day and a half. Not a huge bat, but somebody who can help fill the void while Judge is limited to DH duties.
Mark, last question for me. We had a debate earlier in the week. If Cal Raleigh hits a bunch of home runs in the next couple months, do you think if he got to close to 60 or above 60, that would be break into TV worthy? How big a story is his home run total? I know we were comparing, will it be like Barry Bonds, will it be like Judge a couple years ago, or will it just be not that major of a story?
I think if he starts approaching Judge's 62 American League record, that would probably be worthy of breaking in on certainly on MLB Network. I don't know whether ESPN would break in or not. It probably depends on what they had going on at the time. But look, everybody loves Cal Raleigh. He's a big personality, great nickname, and won the home run derby. And he's on a team that's fighting for a playoff spot and is actually relevant this year. And so I think, the catcher record for home runs is 48. Barring an injury, I think he's going to break that. I think he's at 41 right now. But I think he'd probably have to get to 58, 59 before you start really thinking about this becoming a huge national story. The most interesting part of Raleigh to me right now, depending on how long Judge is out and what he looks like when he gets back, Raleigh actually could steal this AL MVP award because the Mariners are hot. They're in the playoff race right now. I think they're in a wild card spot. If I remember looking at the standings the last time I did. And if he leads them to a playoff spot and Judge sort of falters down the stretch because of this elbow, Raleigh could sneak in there. I mean, he's a great defensive player. He won the Platinum Glove as a catcher. So I think, to me, the MVP is now all of a sudden an interesting race.
Mark, last one for me is in Atlanta with Ronald Acuna Jr. and the Achilles situation. This has just been a nightmare season for the Braves. I mean, they are just floundering here. Is this a bad moment or anything foreshadowing anything more for Atlanta?
Well, they've got most of their core locked up to long-term deals. So we're not going to see any kind of big sell-off from the Braves. Marcell Ozuna, Rafael Iglesias, there may be a couple of guys moved. But all of their big guys are signed. Acuna himself admitted that he's worried about this Achilles injury, and they're obviously going to do more testing today and see sort of what's going on. But it would be just a huge blow to them if he has to have another surgery, certainly, and misses another year or another part of a year. This is one of the most electric, best players in the game. I heard after the game last night, I guess Brian Snitker said that he had felt a little tweak in it the night before, which leads me to believe, why was he out on the field last night? If he said he wanted to go, he was fine, but the Braves aren't going anywhere this year. They're not headed to the playoffs. And if you have a guy like Acuna, who has a history of major injuries, I don't know why you mess around with that. I mean, obviously everybody's just keeping their fingers crossed, that nothing here reveals itself to be some major injury. Because for a guy this talented, he's won an MVP, he's put some amazing numbers up there. The Braves and baseball need that guy on the field.
Mark, we have a tradition every time you come on. I have to let you mention once your football fandom. I know you're wearing a T-shirt if you're watching us on YouTube now.
Yeah.
It says 1982, 1987, 1991. I know why those years are significant.
Yes, so do I.
Are your Commanders going to add 2025 to that list? Washington football, you got to be feeling yourself right now.
I wore the shirt just for you, Perloff.
I know it. That. But why are you wearing a Miami Hurricanes hat? Why are you wearing a Canes?
My son's going to be a junior there, so we're part of the Canes family now. That's once you start paying tuition, you're allowed to root for the team. So,
the least they can do is give you a hat.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, they didn't give me the hat. I had to buy that too, but that's okay. I don't know if we're adding 2025 to this T-shirt, but we're feeling pretty good. After 30 really, really awful years. I think Andrew, I met you. We were working together probably in the first 5. Actually, I think we were working together when Snyder bought the team. So you were with me right when the downhill started.
Oh, yeah. And I thoroughly enjoyed that. I mean, yes, at least the Eagles were making Super Bowls. Yeah.
I'm sure you enjoyed last year's NFC title game. It actually didn't bother me that much because I didn't think they had any chance of beating the Eagles. The Eagles were a much better team. But I will tell you, after a list of quarterbacks that's just shameful. Having Jaden Daniels out there every week just gives you a fun feeling when you turn on the TV on Sunday at 1 o'clock that you have a chance to win the game, and really, that's all you can ask
I'm
for.
going to be a snitch here. I'm going to be a snitch here. Maggie's thinking about fading your Commanders.
Sorry, Mark.
I don't look. I'm not sold that they're ready to go. I mean, people are talking about them as being the team that's going to topple the Eagles in the division and all that. Let's settle down. Keep Jaden healthy. Let's get the defense a little better. Let's get Terry McLaurin signed. How about that? That's number one right now. Get Terry McLaurin signed. We need Terry McLaurin.
I love it. You're working 20 hours a day on the trade deadline, and you're fascinated with Terry McLaurin. That's awesome.
Well, of course.
Wow,
I mean,
Jaden Daniels.
You're a fan, but you know,
I've got my Adam Schefter notifications on. I got to find out. I'm texting my friends who cover football. I'm like, can they get Terry signed already?
Well,
and they're texting me, what are the Mets doing? So, it's a little back and forth.
Yeah, it's a little give and take. Perloff said I'm fading the Commanders. My last big NFL prediction was that Nick Sirianni was going to be the first coach fired, and he ended up winning the Super Bowl. So maybe you don't have to throw so much behind my predictions.
Well, all right, fade us away. Go for it.
Mark, thank you so much for doing this. Mark Feinsand, you can read him, MLB.com. You can watch him on MLB Network. We know it's a busy time, Mark, so thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate that. Okay, we've got nicknames to get to. Unfortunately, Cal Raleigh, the Big Dumper, did not make our bracket of 64, the greatest sports nicknames of all time. But we are down to the championship has been set. And you will get to vote on who has the greatest sports nickname ever. We got details for you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He was telling me that he could, you grow your hair out, I could cover it up a little bit and make it look like you got a regular, haircut. So I tried it, and he just made my stuff look like shoe polish up there, man. I still listen. This is like 5 years later, and I'm still hearing about it. Trust me, I done heard it from my teammates, from my girl. I done heard it from all my homies growing up.
It's Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Great job, guys. Tracking down that audio. Carlos Boozer, someone we were talking about earlier in the show, is on some kind of reality dating show. Had no clue. Former Duke star. And very memorably tried to fill in his hair. And it was basically painted on. And he says that shoe polish. I remember it. I remember where I was, sitting on my couch being like, what's up with that guy's hair? And it looked like a Rudy Giuliani moment where it felt like it could have been dripping down the side of his face. If you remember, the former mayor of New York had that moment. So, rough. Although I think it's going to not hurt him in the dating world.
Oh, no, that bank account, he's going to be just fine.
Meanwhile, his kids, two twins, about to start starring for Duke. Let's get to some sports nicknames.
64 nicknames were entered, but only one will win. It's Maggie and Perloff's search for the greatest nickname in sports.
Pearl Final Four happened yesterday, so we've got some results for you.
Oh, my God. This is massive.
Can you believe we're here almost at the very, very end? So yesterday in the Final Four, one half of the bracket was Mean Joe Green against Air Jordan. It was all Jordan.
It became personal with me.
66% of the vote to 34%. And it's funny because Mean Joe Green had been killing it. He had really been, as a 1 seed, just mowing down the competition. But so had Jordan. And when it was mano a mano, Air Jordan advances. Then, in the other half of the bracket, a great streak came to an end. The Fridge, William Refrigerator Perry, as a 9 seed, Cinderella story, really, in this nickname bracket, had also just been dynamite, but loses to the 1 seed, the Great One. The Great One! So Wayne Gretzky against Air Jordan. The Great One against Air Jordan in the title game.
Yeah, I mean, it is poetic justice that the Fridge got farther than Walter Payton's sweetness after famously the Fridge stole a touchdown from Payton in the 1985 season Super Bowl. Amazing. It fits, right? Michael Jordan versus Wayne Gretzky.
I mean, this is my childhood, basically. Remember that All-Star Cafe? Wasn't it Jordan, Gretzky? I forgot who else was involved in that. Anyway, this makes a lot of sense. The greatest basketball player of all time, the greatest hockey player of all time. 2 great nicknames.
Yeah. As we get, is there anyone in this whole field that you were surprised that you thought? I thought, first of all, I think Black Mamba got a tough draw to face Air Jordan in the Sweet 16.
Yep, that was tough.
I swear I thought Johnny Football was going to kill, and then he got slaughtered in the first round. I like the cleverness. I don't. The great one is that. I mean, we were talking about. There's two kinds of nicknames, like good one for a great player, or like the Pillsbury Throw Boy, which is really clever. And I feel like the greatest player factored into this very, very heavily.
I think it did also, which, you want to maybe divorce the nickname from the resume, but it's really, really hard to do because I don't think Air Jordan is one of the greatest nicknames, but I know we have some sound here. Can we play it, Manny? This is David Falk, so famously Michael Jordan's agent, on coming up with the Air Jordan nickname for Nike.
I said, look, we may be willing to do it, but you have to come up with a name, and it cannot be Michael Jordan. I literally wanted to strangle Darren. I mean, I was so frustrated. He literally came to me in probably less than a minute. And I said, okay, we're going to call it Air Jordan. And he said, why? I said, Air because Nike has just developed these new running shoes that have an air technology that's supposed to cushion your feet. And it's a double entendre in the way Michael plays basketball in the air.
Wow, so you said just sort of came up with it. Amazing. And it will be Air Jordan against the Great One. Here is Wayne Gretzky telling the story of getting the nickname the Great One at the age of 10.
I was 10 years old. A reporter from the London Free Press came down and did a story on me. I scored 400 goals that year.
Oh, my goodness.
He said, at the end of the article, he said, NHL guys have one nickname, Mr. Hockey, the Golden Jet. And they said, we should just call him the Great One. Well, my dad tried to kill that right away, and it just kept coming back. And finally, I just was like, well, we're going to have to live with it.
Man, that's a great story, but I hear that. I'm like, we should have the Golden Jet in our 64. How do we not get Bobby Hull in there? Golden Jet. We did have Mr. Hockey. I'm not going to take any more smoke from the Detroit fans after I picked Steve Yzerman on my Mount Olympus over Gordie Howe.
What was the one this morning that you were worried about?
Cool Papa Bell, we did not put in the field of 64.
Yeah, it's funny. You know who did not perform well is anybody who was playing 100 years ago.
Red Grange or the Galloping Ghost.
Yeah, we didn't have any of the old names. Did anybody get far out of the old names?
Oh, the Great Bambino.
The Great Bambino, yeah.
Yeah, so that was probably one of the main ones that went far. It's tough. It's tough.
The Great Bambino!
But when Cool Papa Bell played, like everybody was known in baseball by their nickname, right? Like we don't even know how. I'm even more modern. Does anyone know Whitey Ford's real first name?
No clue.
Oh, yeah, the Great Bambino.
What is his first name?
I have no idea.
Pearl. You asked the question like you knew exactly.
No. Sorry, his name is Whitey. Yeah, right?
Edward Charles Ford.
Yeah.
His name is.
I was impressed that so many people knew George Herman Ruth because I had forgotten that. Like George Ruth. If I say George Ruth, you're not like, the greatest baseball player of all time. But I say Great Hambino from The Sandlot.
The Hambino, very funny.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
The Great Bambino!
It's open. Go vote. It's the title game, if you will, the greatest sports nickname of all time, as voted by you. So go vote for either Air Jordan or the Great One.
Of course. I thought you said the Great Bambi.
Bogusch, what do you have?
Well, we are still waiting on Trey Hendrickson to make an official appearance at Bengals training camp this morning. His holdout expected to end without an extension, but showing up is apparently a show of good faith from Hendrickson. Ravens tight end Isaiah Likely said to be dealing with a small fracture in his foot after getting hurt at practice yesterday. He could be back for week 1. This week's NL Central Showdown has been one-sided so far.
First pitch, breaking ball, hit high, hit deep, left center, bye-bye baseball! The legend of Andrew Vaughn keeps growing, a grand slam! You have got to be kidding me!
Andrew Vaughn, the grand slam. He drove in 6 total in this 9-3 Brewer win. That's 2 days, 2 wins over the Cubs. So Milwaukee leads the division by 2 games, and they have the best record in baseball this morning at 64-43. The Tigers,
just a bit outside.
The Tigers once had the best record. They're now on a 3-game win streak after dropping 12-13. They dropped Arizona last night 12-2. The Jays losing twice in Baltimore, while the Yankees held off the Rays 7-5. So New York is now 4 games behind Toronto in the AL East.
World Series back on, guys.
Juan Soto fouled a ball off his foot in the Mets' 7-1 loss in San Diego. Made an early exit, but X-rays were negative. Soto's day-to-day for now. A little worse news for Ronald Acuna Jr., the Braves right fielder, going on the IL with right Achilles pain. It started running the bases on Monday night, then aggravated playing the field in last night's 9-6 win in Kansas City. The Grizzlies and Magic will play games in Berlin and London in January as part of the NBA's European invasion. Manchester and Paris will host games in 2027, then Berlin and Paris in 28, with, of course, those teams to be determined.
Are you fond of that?
And in the WNBA last night, Maggie threw a neon green adult toy onto the court during the Valkyries' Dream game in Atlanta.
Fake news.
This happened during a play, which finished. Then took a few minutes for security to sort things out, the refs as well. Then Golden State got a 77-75 win. Asia Wilson had 34 points and 10 boards. The Aces beat the Sparks 89-74, but LA did have Cam Brink making her season debut after tearing an ACL 13 months ago. She played 13 minutes, 5 points, 3 boards. Back to you guys.
I saw the first shot she hit, I think, was a 3,
Was a
right?
3, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Have you guys seen the press tour that Luka Doncic is on right now?
No. I mean, I saw the Men's Journal.
Yeah, he's got the Men's Journal
Health
cover.
Journal. What's it called?
Men's Health.
Men's Health, right.
He looks pretty shredded. He's definitely skinnier. And it's like this whole revenge bod tour. He was on the Yes Network the other day at the Yankee game. We saw him dapping up Aaron Judge. We actually have some audio from that.
Bogusch loved that interview, by the way. I got a personal text message saying that he loved it.
Here is Luka talking to the Yes Network about his new bod.
After that deal was made, the Mavericks got a lot of criticism regarding it. And then they start to leak out stuff, well, we don't know if he's ever going to be in shape. You should mail him a copy of the Men's Health magazine.
They probably saw it, so I don't have to worry about that.
Ooh. Yeah, the question is this just a revenge bod, which we all know someone breaks up with you, all of a sudden, either because of your grief or because you get motivated or what have you, you get in really good shape. Is this a revenge bod, Pearl, or is this a whole new Luka? Is this just, has he turned a corner and he's going to be one of the best and most well-conditioned NBA players?
I don't have to worry about that.
I would imagine he turned a corner. But, the one thought in my head, remember when James Harden during COVID, there were all these images of him in the gym, just looking shredded, working so hard. Then he showed up in Orlando, and he must have been 30 pounds overweight.
Gosh.
So I just think that if some people do put it right back on. But I'll tell you, Joker lost a lot of, I'll call it baby fat, and turned around his career by getting in shape. So I think Luka can definitely do it.
I kind of think this is just a revenge bod. I do. And I hope I'm wrong. I want to put a Luka MVP bet on, like now. I don't know if the market's already moved after this Men's Health cover story, but I kind of feel like this is just somebody who is feeling a little burned by the trade. Obviously, the Mavericks were getting it out there that it was too much hookah and too much beer. I mean, that's got to be a big blow to the ego. You're as motivated as humanly possible. But we saw this with Charles Barkley. Like, there were times when Barkley got in really good shape, and then he would kind of revert back to just who you are. I don't know if it's
he had a pretty good run, though.
Who? Barkley?
Charles, from like 91 through 95. Like, he kept it off.
I just think that, I think it can be hard to maintain, especially, let's say the best case scenario happens for the Lakers, right? Luka wins MVP, say they win the title or something like that, or they go to the finals or what have you. Okay. Is he going to feel like, then do you start slipping a little? It's like if you have a revenge bod, but then you get the good bod and then you start dating somebody else, do you start incorporating a couple more donuts all of a sudden and you just kind of get back to yourself? Because here's my last thing I'll say about it. It's not like he had a health issue. It's not like he had a health scare where all of a sudden it's like, you have to change your lifestyle or else bad things are going to happen. He's just got in shape, decided to. That could be a yo-yo.
So your concern is the motivation. If he just wanted to be healthier, you'd like this better than, because this feels temporary to you.
Well, my
and
question
Victoria, definitely a secret.
If why did this happen when you were just with the Mavs? Like, you made the NBA and now it's time to get your body right. It definitely, there's a catalyst here. There's an actionable thing that happened. Him getting traded, blindsided by the trade, the Mavs, calling him out, and now he's changing it. Like, I don't know if that sticks.
But don't a lot of players change their bodies halfway through their careers. I don't think that's too uncommon a story. If they win a title, then they'll probably say, go to the buffet all you want, right? Like, I think one title pays us off in a major way. You know, he scored, by the way, to get MVP, he scored 33.9 points a game a few years ago and was third in MVP voting. He has a high bar. You know how I feel about Luka. Like, first of all, that if he's scoring 34 points a game, they're not winning anything. But that means that nobody else is doing anything on the Lakers, right? He's got to be a little bit more of a distributor. Also, I think the NBA is going to cut down on these. I think the NBA has an issue with foul merchants, and Luka is like basically a tall righty James Harden. He needs to get all those calls. So, and now that he's skinny, is he going to get every single call? Like, are you going to be able to push him around a little more? I'm just really curious what the new Luka is. He going to blow by you? Is he going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? Like, who is the new skinny Luka on the court? Is he the same player? Different player?
Well, the guy's banging you.
And there's one other thing on Luka, too, about the motivation, Maggie, is remember, it wasn't just the Mavs that came out. Remember, the first thing after the season, what did J.J. Redick say? We got to get in championship shape. Yeah. We got to get in championship condition. And it seemed like these were direct shots at Luka Doncic. So I think that as long as J.J. Redick's going to be his head coach, this is always going to be front and center for his Laker career unless they get rid of J.J. and then someone else comes in and they don't care as much. But J.J. made it clear that this is a priority.
That's so funny you say that. Like, I don't think J.J. Redick has already established himself as a long-term Lakers coach. Feels like, because what's going to happen, what happens when LeBron leaves?
Great
well,
question.
they said that didn't Luka like JJ? Didn't JJ? They have some kind of overlap? No, with the Mavs. Am I wrong about that?
They might have. The JJ got traded there. I think he didn't like it. But I mean,
he didn't play much.
I think they had a relationship though. But that's a fair point. I guess I don't see as JJ Redick now having the gravitas to tell a great player, hey, you have to get in shape. Maybe he does. I think Luka's doing this because the Mavs said you drink too much beer. And I think he took it personally. And that's great. I just wonder, do you keep it off? Does this mean this is who you are for the next 10 years? I don't know about that. 888-710-4ISN. Bogusch, thank you so much. We've got lots more to do, including did one team find their secret weapon? Wow. Some very, very encouraging things coming out of camp for the Packers. Tell you about it next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Had a shoe marker on top of his head.
And hooped in the game, sweating like a mother.
And got it lined up, though.
That's the crazy part.
Crazy. I subbed in the game, and I just looked at him the whole time like, that really got that on his head.
It's gonna be a good day with Maggie and Perloff.
I'll tell you what, Jeff Teague, who you're just hearing there, his podcast, he's like Forrest Gump a little bit of the NBA. Like, he's talking about this memorable thing that we sort of stumbled upon, Carlos Boozer painting fake hair on his head for an NBA game many years ago. And he, of course, Jeff Teague was playing in that game. Very much getting the Forrest Gump vibes from him. Welcome back to the show. So as far as training camp stories go in the NFL Pro, you always want to get a little, want to take a grain of salt. You don't want to get too over your skis or whatever these other cliches are about guys playing well. But yeah. Matthew Golden for the Green Bay Packers had a standout highlight, one-on-one, just you were talking about Moss and guys the other day. Fantastic. And you know what? It's not that surprising that he'd be getting rave reviews. Jordan Love said the chemistry is fantastic, and he could be and maybe will be the secret weapon for the Green Bay Packers, a team that we expect to be very good. Maybe Super Bowl right there. I think they are a Super Bowl contender.
Really?
And Matthew Golden as a rookie could be a big part of that receiving core.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they've never gone first round for receiver.
Yeah,
really.
Aaron Rodgers was begging for it.
They had, what the heck's that guy? Javante Walker was the last one. Decades ago. So I love Matthew Golden in Texas. I kind of thought he fell a little further than he should have in the draft.
He's a little smaller, right?
Yeah, but he was big time productive in college and super, super fast. So I loved that pick. And I think Super Bowl feels a little rich for the Packers, but I picked them last year. So shows you what I know. I might just feel burned. I think that when you're looking at that division, are they really better than Detroit, Minnesota, and Chicago? Like, can you see them going Aaron Rodgers style 13-4? I can't. I think it's so competitive. All those teams are going to be around 10, 11 wins. Then we'll see what happens in the playoffs. But yeah, I agree with you. Golden would be a major factor.
You know, the funny thing about Green Bay is I think sometimes we think that, Lambeau, which I think is a great home field advantage, but let's not forget, when Aaron Rodgers made his one and only Super Bowl appearance and win, they were a wild card team that year.
They lost that cold game to the Giants. They lost a snow game to the Niners. They were not great at Lambeau the last several years.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if the Packers need to put together a 13 or 14 win season to still be considered a really dangerous team and a potential Super Bowl contender, because we've seen them go on the road. And if not for, wasn't it raining like crazy when the Jordan Love kind of had his breakout performance against San Francisco? Well, first against Dallas, but then against San Francisco in the divisional round a couple years ago. And it was just the weather was heinous. But
the weather was held up, and then it started raining, and they blew the game.
Right, but I do think that doesn't bode well for him. But maybe there is a reality there where you don't have to have home field, right? And maybe playing in Lambeau is not the best thing. But
the thing
I
is,
still think they're dangerous.
Did you feel like they were fading pretty fast last year? I know they made the playoffs, but of all the NFC teams, they felt maybe the least dangerous.
Well, I thought the whole season was kind of weird because the Jordan Love injury, and then he kind of re-aggravated it. And to be honest, I think there was a pretty dicey / terrible call that happened to them early on in that Packers-Eagles game, and I think it threw them off a little bit.
Oh, get out of here.
I'm just saying.
It was actually, it's not even that Eagles game. It was the end of the season. I just felt like, because Jordan Love came back healthy, and they looked really, really good for a stretch. And then I thought towards the last quarter of the season, that to me, they did not look dangerous.
Yeah, I don't think how last season ended, though, is necessarily a precursor to what they're going to be now. And, Jordan Love one more year, if he can be healthy, as opposed to last year when he got hurt literally the first game of the season, but the last play or the last drive right before they have to get back on a plane to Brazil. So I still think there should be a lot of Packer love. I'm not sure why there's not more.
Well, I'll put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Just instinct. Who would you rather invest in, the Lions or the Packers in the NFC North?
I'm actually going to go with the Packers here, and I'll tell you why. Number one, I do want to see what happens when the Lions lose both of their coordinators. That is not a small deal to me. Two, I want to see what happens with the Vikings with a basically rookie quarterback. I know J.J. McCarthy's in his second year, but let's say you don't want to talk about a team that fell apart at the end of the year. How about the Vikings? And then three, let's see what's going on with the Bears. Can Ben Johnson coach a game as a head coach before we anoint the Chicago Bears as the winners of the NFC North? I think that the continuity is really there in Green Bay more than anything. And now they've got Matthew Golden, who looks like he could be a contributor. So, I think the Packers are going to win the division. And, I wonder if Detroit blew a big opportunity last year. Really big. I know their defense was hurt, but all those guys now are coming off of injury. You know?
I don't know if there really was an opportunity without Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, that's the funny thing. When he went down, we immediately said, there goes their Super Bowl chance.
They kept winning, though. They still have the number one seed. That happened midway through the season.
And then Aileen McNeil, probably their second best defensive player, went down. It got bad. And then 6 other guys went down. If they had pulled that off, they would have had to score 100 points a game. Actually, what worried me the most was that Goff had a big fumble in that game. Goff finds a banana peel in playoff games. Maybe he'll mature and get over that. I was originally down because, I love Ben Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to think that maybe they can still have an electric offense. To me, the issue is going to be what Aiden Hutchinson is playing, because he's still recovering a little bit. If he's full on. He was amazing. Remember him before? He easily would have been Defensive Player of the Year because they couldn't figure out anyone to give it to last year. They gave it to Patrick Surtain, but I think that is underrated. I would probably bet you on that one, do a little show bet. I'd lean Lions over Packers, although I picked the Packers to win it all last year. It goes to show what I know.
I want to update you guys on a poll question because I'm a little surprised on the early results. We asked, if you count his college and pro career, do you consider Tua Tagovailoa's career a success? Pearl, 55% say yes.
Yeah, won a title.
Won a title, and one of the all-time moments of, replacing Jalen Hurts at halftime. No one's ever going to forget it. But,
I mean, he's been pretty good at it. Here's the thing on Tua. I think we all have the same view. It's he's pretty good when he's out there. I mean, does anyone not think he's an effective quarterback when he's playing?
Well, not if the weather's cold. I mean, that's a part where you could be totally healthy and you are ineffective just because of the weather. That's not great. So 55% to 45% say yes if you count college and the pros to his career as a success. You can also vote right now on the greatest nickname of all time. The two of the number one seeds advanced to the championship round. Air Jordan against the great one, and right now the great one is leading by a nose. Chris is in Lexington. Chris, you have a baseball question for us. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Maggie and Pearl. Great show as always. As I was telling EJ, I think I've called in another. I'm Pittsburgh native, so I would love to be on. Actually, making a call one time, actually saying, "Wow, wonder what Pittsburgh's going to do as far as buying."
Buyers at the deadline. Yes, it's been a long time.
It's been a very long time, Maggie. And what I wanted to parallel it to is, and I don't know, and it may take a lockout to get it done. This sport needs a salary cap or at least a salary floor so bad. And what I want to parallel to is to my hometown Penguins. And I've had a lot of issues with Bettman over the years, but the smartest thing that ever got done when they realized in the 90s, as the 90s went on, there started to be what there is in baseball now. Yes, you have a Kansas City every once in a while, but let's call it what it is. There's 5 or 6 teams that legitimately have a shot, and that's what hockey became.
Yeah.
It was Detroit because of the Illich money coming from Caesars, and it was New York, and it was L.A. We almost lost our team. And finally in 2005, when they got that salary cap done, because hockey was, I don't want to say on its way out, but the parity was so little, and I want to liken that to what I hope happens in baseball. So legitimately someone in a market like myself can actually realistically, without being delusional, be excited about their baseball team.
Man, Chris, it sets up such a dilemma, right? And thank you for the call, and thanks for making it. I feel for fans like Chris who have been rooting for the Pirates. They shouldn't have to give up your rooting interest just because you got bad owners, because they definitely can afford it. They're just choosing not to be contenders, right? So for guys like Chris, it's not his fault he's got a bad owner. He shouldn't have to give up his fandom. So you want there to be a salary floor and a salary cap for fans. But at the same time, I also don't want to bail out the billionaire owners who are just choosing not to pay guys and
but if you have a salary,
stifling their earning power.
But you're not bailing them out. If you put the salary floor in, you're making them pay in Pittsburgh like 3 times what they're paying now.
Yeah, but it's still like if a guy like your guy Bryce Harper or Shohei Ohtani or Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, shouldn't they just be able to make whatever the market deems they're worth? You know, so it sets up this tough dilemma because I feel for guys like Chris, but I also think these players should get paid whatever they feel they're worth.
Can you do a salary floor without a salary cap? Probably not. I don't know why not, but
I think it'd be hard in a negotiation like that because their owners are going to say, "Well, we're giving you something, you got to give us something."
But the owners, this is the owners against the owners. Like the Yankees owners could say, "Hey, we're going to stop giving you all that TV money if you don't start spending it." Like they could easily make that rule
to stop revenue sharing.
No, they could say, we'll revenue share, but you have to come up to a certain payroll. But just because you have to make moves to protect the viability of the league. I'm sure this has happened at some point, and there's been all kinds of leagues. You know what I would put in here?
What's that?
Relegation, of course.
Yes, love it.
Let's do baseball relegation. Can you imagine how intense the last 2 weeks of the season would be? Oh, it'd be amazing. The Pirates probably would be buying now because relegation, goodbye TV money. You're playing in Binghamton.
I know. I was going to say, you literally have 2 teams playing in minor league baseball parks this year. You have Sacramento, and I know it's not for it's for a terrible reason. What happened in Tampa Bay with the Storm? The guys are playing now at the Rays are playing at Steinbrenner Field.
Yeah, I mean, if we had relegation, the A's would be stuck. They'd stay in Sacramento. There'd be no reason to even go to Vegas because they would not make it.
I am pro relegation in all sports outside the NFL because it's not a real minor league. But bring relegation everywhere. Hockey, basketball.
Well, all the players have to go back to college if they have 1 more year eligibility.
That'd be
congratulations,
hilarious.
You're playing at Alabama again.
Yeah, exactly.
They'd probably love it. Imagine if you could tell guys on the Browns, like, sorry, you have to leave Cleveland. You know, we love Cleveland, but like you're winning 2 games a year, 3 games a year. Now you get to go back to Alabama, be a big man on campus, and get paid and win a championship again.
Shamar Stewart probably would have gone back to college.
Yeah, right, to Texas A&M.
But I love the way. So the players still get their full salary when they get relegated. Is that how it works? Did the players lose anything? I guess they probably do.
Players do lose wages, yes.
So you'd have a guy making $30 million a year to play in Binghamton. Yeah, that would go a long way in Binghamton.
I mean, the economy in Binghamton would instantly get a huge boost.
Relegation. Let's bring it on.
Love my hometown. Thank you, DJ Stewart and Manny Rodriguez. Thank you, Andrew Bogusch and Andrew Kaplan. Thanks to Mark Feinsand, who joined us early in the show. You can download the Maggie and Perloff podcast. Of course, you can always use the rewind function on the free Odyssey app if you missed any part of the show. And we will see you tomorrow. Weedos!
You're in a 5-minute break.